Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 245 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by... What nickname do I want to give you this week?
We don't.
Demio seems like a cop-out. Nothing's really happening this week. I don't know if I have a great nickname for you. Pete Hines' son, Lord Cognito.
Yeah, Lord Hines.
Talk a lot about Mr. Hines today. How are you doing, Cog?
Oh, man. We were talking, bro. Like, countdown begins to Tokyo. Every day, the most action-packed, emailed, event. It's nonstop. Yeah. And then last week sucked. I know that. I know whatever it's got to be better than last week. Last week was horrible. But we got through. And what capped off a horrible week, I'm like, all right, I'm stressed, I'm doing a lot. But you know what? It's football Sunday. Yeah. Got Red Zone. After the podcast, I'm going to sit there, have my nice little drink, my food. Why my Red Zone channel don't work?
Oh, I remember some Red Zone issues beyond that, like the way they're... I never had Red Zone, so I apologize for my ignorance. But ESPN, I think, changed something that was like why people loved Red Zone. Like that was reading.
Oh, I heard about something going on with that when you access it the other way. See, for me, like Files is my provider, and what's funny is I suspected something was wrong because on Friday I proactively called the cable company. I'm like, yo. My Red Zone, usually when it's not active, you still get a splash screen, you hear music. And they go through the troubleshooter steps. They try to reauthorize the channel. I did all this manually. Then I called them, and they were like, "No, we spoke to support, and support said on Sunday it'll be fine.
On Sunday it'll be fine." Yeah.
Famous last, bro. I'm going through it. 49ers in like a tight game in the fourth quarter. I'm stressing. I'm looking at like ESPN Gamecast. I'm trying to, I'm stressing. So then I'm like, you know what? Screw this. It ain't working. I try to contact them. Of course, they don't pick up their phone now because they know they probably get bombarded. Yeah. So I run to the car. That's the funny joke.
Oh, no.
So the car, because I got Sirius XM in the car. And so I'm like, all right. Now, listening to the radio broadcast. All right, Brock Purdy, it's third down. A minute left to go. They're marching against you. Okay, what's going to happen? Why my man called me right at that time? Be like, yo, 49ers did it, bro. And I'm like, how are you knowing this? You're like, I guess I'm on like a delay.
Yeah,
so he's telling me
that radio nerf.
I'm like, bro, I didn't need you to let me know. Yeah. Like I was so mad because I didn't get the information. It was about to happen, and he was ahead of me. So I was just like, this day sucks. And then that's
the worst part about when you're fans with the same team as someone else, and you're like watching the same stream, but they might be ahead. Like, I remember watching a UFC card, texting my friend while it was happening, and he hit me up like, "Yo, I can't believe he knocked him out." I'm like, damn, bro. I thought this dude was about to lose. Like, all
thanks.
The joy, the shock, and the awe got robbed of that. Yeah,
Straight robbed. So we had that. Sunday sucked. I was just like, this is like the Mets lost, and they lost 2 or 3 for the Reds. Yeah, now they lost 2 or 3 for the Fed. I'm like, what else could go wrong? Fire alarm went off in the building again.
Oh no.
I'm like, what is happening? I said, you know what? I just need a drink. I need to go out. I need a drink. I just need to drink.
Watch the rest of the game at the bar.
And watch the game. I watched the rest of the games at a bar, local bar. Shout out to Hoboken. You know what I'm saying? I went over there. But that last week sucked. So anything could be better than last week.
That's a great reset point. Am I right, man?
Yes. What have you been up to? What's been going on with you?
Oh, well, we were talking a bit, where we're coming out of a pretty strong review stretch here. You know what I've been talking a lot about and looking a lot into is what's going on with this YouTube viewership thing. I don't know if you've been caught on the viewership nerf that's happening.
Hell yeah, we got nerf crazy.
Yeah. It's been interesting because I've seen a lot of the worst thing I think a YouTuber can do. And I get it because I was there in like 2017 when like the big grand demonetization was happening and everyone was launching Patreons, myself included. That was a valuable lesson to learn, and like panicking and putting that out to your audience really shows weakness in your brand. And you just kind of like, this is a game of adaptability, and like you're always going to be shucking and jiving and figuring things out. And so this whole thing I started to realize was a bit overplayed. Like a lot of people were like, I'm losing money on this. And so a lot of YouTubers start going in and like looking at their RPM, revenue per mile, like what am I getting per video, like how are things looking versus the views. And like many people out there, myself included, were like, I am getting less views, but like the income and the like ratio and the comment ratio are the same. Like I was talking with Skill Up extensively about it. We were like breaking down our own channels, and he found a good comparison for mine. I had a video with like 130K or something like that views, but like the comments and likes were the same as like one of my reviews that had like 35K. Oh, wow. And so what a lot of people think is happening, and this would make sense because when I post a video, bro, like the first thing I hate in the comments, it's like these busty chicks just like, your video is so beautiful. It made me feel sometimes. I'm just like, yo, I mute them all as often as I can, but there's too many, and they flood your comment section where I think bots really were bloating the numbers on YouTube. And I think the way YouTube is calculating views is different now. And honestly, if they're cutting bot views, great. Because for me, I was like not panicked about my new low numbers. I was like, hey, I literally was talking to a friend. I said, hey, if this is my new like bottom, I remember when like it was like 1K, 2K. I'm totally fine if my floor is like a 40K, a 50K. Like I'm super fucking proud of that. I'm more than happy with that. So to kind of learn also that you could see, there's a lot of popular YouTubers out there that bought the shit out of their views, big time. They do not play the game fairly because when you bought your views, a lot of people,
a lot of enhancements.
Yeah, a lot of
performance enhancements.
Performance enhancement drugs. Yeah, and
for sure.
I've been hearing that people do that because it gets them really nice ad deals because the ads do that, and they're like, oh,
opportunities. There's opportunity because there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of PR companies and publishers who strictly still go by the old metrics of how many subscribers you have and stuff like that. And because of that and because of you, because a lot of times you can tell by the ratio and certain little things that things ain't organic. And my thing is like, God bless, I refuse to do that. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, whenever the faucet get cut off on that, you're going to go back to what you're really supposed to be doing. So, but unfortunately, though, we have seen a lot of people benefit of that, and it doesn't seem like there's really much repercussion for it. No. And it sucks. It sucks when you're out here trying to.
I mean, I don't know if it's a sickening type of pride I have, but it's just like, of course you could buy views, but I'm like, who the fuck are you making it for then, dude? Like, that's why you got to make the content for yourself at the end of the day, because the audience will complain, or in our case, when we do reviews and stuff, I got companies complaining at me, but if I like it, then I get peace of mind, and you've made something for other people, but you found satisfaction in it. When you're like lying to yourself that like you're making it for your invisible audience, bro, you have invisible friends too, imaginary friends too. Like, that's what I think about.
No, that's real. That's real. The thing that I saw, because again, I've been paying attention to Viewgate or whatever's been going on. And
is that what it's called?
I don't know what it's called. I'm just seeing a lot of popular creators like really complaining. So I'm like, yo, what's going on? So I was kind of talking with Addict that I was looking, and I shouted to Rand. A couple of people did tell me something though. The worry is this, and again, I don't know if this is true. I'm still figuring things out, but people are correlating these view drops to when restricted mode came out.
Yeah, I don't buy that. Apparently it was a feature for a while.
Right. And again, some people, now the only thing that did scare me though, I ain't gonna lie. I think it was Red out there. He was like, put restricted on and then look at your channel.
Go away. Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, it went to like 2 years ago ILP. I'm like, yo, why is this?
Oh yeah, it's bad.
And what's the ratio? Because none of our content is considered mature content. So it just, that part did a little like, okay, it is a little weird, but there's some people are coming out and saying, nah, bro, like there's really no correlation 100% like that. That's kind of overblown kind of thing. So I don't know what's going on, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying? But the revenue is there.
Yeah.
But I have noticed the views. We're like, oh.
For sure. I realized it was like an ego hit more than anything. Like, I was like, oh man, the videos aren't doing as well. But like, again, I quickly reassessed. I'm like, look, dude, if this is the new floor, like I got to be happy that anyone's listening at all. Yeah. But then, you know, when you see the revenue's the same and you're like, oh, it's just a slow month. But if this is my version of a slow month, I'm totally content with where I'm at. Like it was kind of a cool awakening. And I think just a lot of people are very quick to scapegoat YouTube for like literally every problem with their channel. And that's why I say like the worst thing you can do is blame YouTube when something's going wrong with your channel, because there were a lot of people who kind of like immediately went like, oh, I'm doing like a Patreon or something like that. And it's like, okay, like you, and now we see this information come out. It's like, so what does that say? You know, so yeah, it's been, for those who are listening, you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like,
I know
it's the content creator stuff, but it's also like relevant to you because at the end of the day, we just want to make sure we're reaching out to you.
Yes.
You know, like for me, I'm looking into it not just for myself, but like I relay a ton of shit to Colin. It's like, you know, hey, dude, like if YouTube's changing, I'll be like, hey, dude, just so you know,
here's what's going on.
Pass that info off. But you know, it's funny because I noticed LSM didn't really fall off at all. And, you know, because we have a very dedicated base, a very real base, and then Retro Rebound went up. So I was just like, you know, and at the same time, I was launching new content types. So I kind of like was in this weird pocket where I was like, I don't know if anything's changed at all. Like I started doing interviews and I'm like, yeah, the algorithm for my channel is probably like, okay, you're doing this like top heavy video that's like an hour and a half long. And then you're doing these like shorter 10 to 20 minute pieces. Like, what do we promote? What do we push? So I figured I just kind of destroyed my own success, but you know, to see everyone else was failing too, I was like, nice.
He was like, yeah, I ain't gonna hold you. Because I was like, yo, because we were like, what's going on? We're like, well, the topics were kind of whack that week. And it was like after like 4 of the topics were kind of not, we were like, then we started seeing other people. We like, oh, okay, we don't feel that bad. Yeah, because we were like, oh, everybody going to do this.
Saw it. Like I noticed my shit was doing bad for my standards. And I was like, all right, like I've never considered myself like this invulnerable content creator where I'm like, oh, well, you know, I'll just find a way to get views. I'm like, I know I'm as useful as like what games are coming out when it comes to my Mr. Matty channel. With Retro Rebound, we can kind of make our own success a little easier. But when I started to see people like that I follow and look at their views that I'm like, oh, they got like slashed in half. Like I didn't get slashed nearly as much as them. And I'm like, okay, something's going on because everyone's getting cut right now. But hey, dude, if it gives me a more authentic look at my views, that's what I care about, because apparently YouTube counts them in like a lot of ways. Like they'll count them in ways like if you're an idle viewer, which I don't know how they're able to tell, but if you're like an idle viewer, like your views aren't as monetized and they might not be counting those. I definitely think YouTube's pushing shorts more. When I search
for video, I can't find the video. It's all shorts prioritizing my face. Some of my favorite channels, I gotta manually go to look for them because shorts are the thing they throwing in the splash screen, even on the homepage.
I had a partnership company I worked with since I was like I first started making money on YouTube, and before I left, like one of their, because I mean they were like a long-term partner, so they were really graceful about like the exit and everything, and they kind of gave me this like passing like, hey, by the way, just one thing you might want to know before you go is that YouTube is like monetizing shorts more if you want to start picking that up more. You know, because that's kind of like for those who don't know, like the old way of doing YouTube is like these MCNs would come around and they'd be like, hey, we'll help you make money. We're going to take a piece of that pie. I started talking to other YouTubers. I was very behind on the times because I'm just like as an anxious dude, I like a schedule and stability. I don't like to change a ton of shit because it's number one annoying, but two, it stresses me out. So when a lot of people were like, yeah, you're like losing a ton of money, dude. I was like, all right, how much? And then they started to show me their numbers. I was like, yeah, I could kind of use that, you know? So, but they gave me a graceful passing bit of advice on their way out. I appreciate it a lot. And then, you know, when you see how the algorithm shifted, where when you search videos and you see shorts up there, I think YouTube views TikTok as their direct competition. So they're pushing that. And also live. I think they're trying to push live. I think they know they're the video platform, but now like live streaming on YouTube is really successful. I've been breaking out my shell. I'm looking into it a little bit. I got we doing some live? I got some equipment next to me that people will be very pleased to know about. But I'll do that when the time is right. I don't want to over promise anything. But I got I have a desire to get back into live stuff. I will say, yeah, it's something I've been thinking about because I think. I don't know. I just ended up going down I'm going down a fucking personal rabbit hole at this point.
This is great.
I went down my rabbit hole on my live content, and there were streams I saw I did that I legitimately did not remember at all. And I don't do that a lot in my content. I'm like very engaged with the stuff I do because I talk a lot, and I'm like, I don't want to like trip over myself. Past version of me, basically. But I went to my like live archive, which is very small. I was looking at like I streamed just the most random shit. Like I streamed Outriders. I streamed Champions of Norath. Like I just used to stream random shit all the time, and now live content's evolved in a way where you can do the thing that I like to do. Like I tried to do it a little bit where when Xbox bought Bethesda, like I went live and just talked about it with my audience. Like live talk shows are kind of a thing. It's like I kind of want to look into that. I want to just play games when they come out with my audience. Like I miss the sense of community is what I realized. I remember how like that feeling of looking at the chat fill up and people being nice.
Yeah, bro. It's huge.
I forgot what that was like. So when I was reconnecting with that and watching myself have a good time, I was like, I do kind of miss this a little bit. You know, I've been in my premeditated bag for a while. Like, I mean, for the content, just like making videos. But yeah, it's
I get it.
Something I'm looking into. But
that's what's up, man.
Never stop evolving. If anyone's listening, the whole more of the conversation with the algorithm and the types of content is you got to stick with it.
Yeah. Adaptability.
Absolutely. Otherwise, though, in my life, dude, I will just I will tease one thing.
What's what we got?
I just did my favorite interview of all time.
Oh, wait.
With a legend. And I will wait until.
Whoa, how you going? Wait, I ain't gonna let you just slide past that.
I'm not sliding.
Because here's the thing. We know what's the resume already. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
So you kind of already got one of your GOATs of all time. And you like this is
better than that. Yeah.
Whoa.
I do. And it's no disrespect to Todd, of course. I'm proud of that one, but this one is like, it's not even about like, I don't know what headlines will come out of it, but it's not even about that. It's just about the conversation and the human that I was speaking to and just the insight and the experience. I had my editor listen to it before he went and worked on it because I was just like, I got to know what you think. I was like, I got to know. I think this is our best. I was like, I got to know that. He's like 20 minutes in. He's like, yeah, 100%. Like, this is it.
Okay.
Ooh. Yeah. So I feel pretty good because
how long I got?
My editor's tough to please. He's got like he's a little rigid at times. Or I'm like, I'll be like, what'd you think? He'd be like, solid. You know, just like,
like you don't give me that.
I love him. Like he keeps me honest. He like if I'm like, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. What do we do to make this better? So he's beyond the editor in a lot of ways. But this will probably be next week. But
man, this is fire. Okay,
yeah, I think I will say I've been very proud of our body of work so far. But I think if I could call anything a must listen,
it's gonna be this.
It would be this one. Then I will leave it there. But I'm really proud of it, you know, and I hope people carry that with some weight because I don't say that often.
That's what's up.
But yeah, I'm very excited for everyone to take a listen.
That's what's up.
All right. Health is wealth time, Cog. Brief one here. Weston J writes in, hey, Cog and Maddie, I just wanted to write in for this week's Health is Wealth. I just wanted to give a shout out to our very own fitness channel of the Last Stand Discord. I've been a patron for 3 months now, and the fitness channel may be smaller than some, but there are some amazing human beings in the channel. About a month ago, I became extremely frustrated with the lack of progress on my chest. Hey, I can relate to that. While everything else grew, my chest was way behind. After venting my frustrations on the fitness channel, I was put in the right direction of better workouts that I was doing. I will say I took the advice I was given, and I'm seeing more progress there now. I would shout out the members that helped me, but they may want to stay anonymous, so I want to respect them. I can already guess who one of them is.
We know who one of them is.
Yeah, we already know who is outside there.
We know who one of them is.
I just wanted to say, tell anyone on the LSM Discord to join us over there. It's a no judgment zone. We push each other hard and hold each other accountable. I am inspired by so many there. I love them all. You can get the kind of advice that you would have to pay for from a coach. Anyway, I hope we can all try to be more healthy for ourselves and loved ones. Hope you're all well. And I can't believe I have to buy a book in December to get to the end of Halo Infinite story kind of day. Thank you, Weston, for writing it. Yeah, underrated part of the LSM Discord. For the Health is Wealthers out there who sit through this segment.
Yes.
That is a great part of our Discord. A lot of helpful folk there. keeps you motivated, especially if you don't have like a buddy system, or you can't get. Sometimes it's just tough getting people into the buddy system. And honestly, I've never really thrived in the buddy system either. Like this is a new way to do it, a new age of the buddy system. So look into it. It's a really good part of the Discord. Not to oversell anyone on stuff, but it really is. We got
it is. The LSM Discord is one of the best. I actually want to apologize to the Robert the Dukes and LSM fam. Like I've been very bad on Discord because I'm in too many Discords and developer publish
notifications on some.
Bro, my notifications, bro. I just feel bad. People be cool. They be like, yo, Cog, don't apologize. We know. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel bad because I want to be more active on it and there's just so much going on. But I know when I do look in there, bro, it is really great advice. Dudes really motivate each other, helping each other out. It's super dude. So I try when I get a tag, I try to at least message and put something in there, or at least talk to people when I am tagged as much as I can. But that's dope. Shout out to Western J.
All right. Well, that's a brief health is wealth, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. See, sometimes we can keep it quick.
Yeah. Sometimes. Go hit 2344.
I see a lot of people timestamp it. And I'm like, it is your right to do this, but it is like this. There's certain types of comments that are so backhanded that they like. There's two. It's that one. Like, if you want to skip the health is wealth bullshit, here you go. And then I see a couple thumbs up, and I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" But the second one is like
save your life stuff. Let's get to
yeah. The second one that gets me is when I've had tons of YouTubers come to me with the same shit. Is like you get into this passionate like monologue, you go into a scripted segment of the video gets like really long, you start talking for a while, and then like one of the comments is like, yeah, this guy's gonna like talk about nothing for like 15 minutes. I'm like, yo, bro, what are you saying? How is that even possible?
Bro, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's hilarious when people focus on. Sometimes even in gaming, we'll have some, like me and you'll have some amazing, dope gaming conversation or, whatever. And none of that is mentioned, right? And it'll be some one little thing that they disagreed with at one point, and that's the focus. And I'm like, really? Like you watch 4 hours and nothing resonated, but this little thing bothers you so much for you to comment. It's hilarious.
Yeah. It's lovely doing this, though. You get to see all different types of people, and just those who are here for a good time, those who are like, I hate these guys. I'm going to listen to them for 4 hours.
But I'm always here. Salute to y'all, though. Salute to y'all. At least y'all come here. And I respect that. No,
I do not want to battle our audience. It's one of those things where you observe us, I observe you. That's how I kind of describe it. I don't want to come across too judgmental here.
For sure.
But, Cog, let's judge what's going on with Starfield.
Woo.
What's this tease we got here? It's the 2-year anniversary of Starfield, which is crazy because year one was packed with a lot of updates, a lot going on, interviews. Here's Shattered Space. Wasn't great, but here's Shattered Space. Year two, they've gone completely dark. Now they post this video like happy anniversary, but within it, the panels start to flicker, start to shift. And if you pause it at just the right time, you'll see what looks to be the name of the next expansion for Starfield. And it's called Terran Armada, which seems to be, Terra, Earth, and we learn a little bit about Earth in the main story of Starfield. I got to say, my prediction was about Starborn related stuff. It still could be that. But this reads a little bit like the story might be about the people who left Earth and where they went and what's going on. And again, given I don't want to spoil because I do think, again, I genuinely find parts of the Starfield story really interesting.
Yes.
In particular, the stretch that involves Earth. I'm like, this is cool. Like that was one of the moments I went, this is really cool. But if they're building off of that, like that was a great part of the main story. It's just not what I expected. But I'm excited to see what it is. I don't know when we'll hear about this, but it's good to know they're ramping up the teases. I can tell Bethesda feels a little bit of the heat of like, we're trying to take our time, but we kind of need to give the community a little something to hang on to, especially in the busy holiday season, to know that Starfield still has a pulse. But Cog, Terran Armada, next expansion. What are we thinking? What are we feeling?
Cautiously optimistic. Yeah. I for one have been the fan of them shutting up after Shattered Space and just going to cut, lick your wounds, and come back outside when you're ready. It's clear as day they're teasing. Like you said, without spoiling, again, I love Starfield's main storyline quest, and Earth was a very interesting take on what they did, right? And how it affected the ending of the game as far as the mainline story and stuff like that. I thought it was very interesting. So to your point, I thought maybe we would go Starborn or something like that. But I'm very interested because I think there's a lot still there to discuss as far as Terran Armada and stuff like that, if it's going to be Earth-based. So we'll see. My main thing is, feature update in conjunction with it, right? What they said from the learnings, what they wanted to do is like, give these smaller updates or whatever. And, I think they said that they learned, you remember with the buggy and all that stuff, like, I think you've really got to knock it out the park on both fronts, which is, telling a great story, right? Continuing something that's amazing from the main quest. But more importantly, my concern is the space travel stuff that I hear that's being hinted, but more so the procedural stuff and try to be creative and maybe that's still another update, right? I want to be realistic because that part of Starfield I cannot ignore is a big part that people don't like, right? So you got to nail the main story first because Shattered Space, we know what that was, and that wasn't it, right? So tell a good story there, but let's fill this thing out and really get more substantial. And hopefully this is the step. I'm being realistic. I am not coming into this like this is the Taken King moment. I'm coming to this. Just tell a good story, main quest, and keep us interested, and then keep being built upon, that extra outer space experience kind of thing.
Yeah, it's there's because again they also teased just before this. They were like, yeah, we can do more quests. We're doing more space travel stuff. When you see like Armada, you're like, what's that going to entail? So there's a lot of things that can be included in this. Again, I'm like you, cautiously just interested. Like, okay, can we? Because again, no matter what they do here, it's still the new beginning. As in, like, it's not going to recover it fully. Like, you can't do that in one. Pardon me, fell swoop. Like Cyberpunk needed tons of updates to get where it was, there. And then you did Phantom Liberty. So
correct.
If this can serve as the turnaround where Starfield can then start going like this, like boom, 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 and then like expansion 3 is the flip, that would be cool. But I think a lot hinges on this one, as we've discussed.
Yeah, and last point I'll say is if they could start the base of that turnaround again and launch on Switch, what the rumors are, and PlayStation at the same time, and they get the product that, is a more, I want to say corrected product, is a strong word, but, a more fleshed out, outer space travel thing, that would be kind of cool.
Absolutely. Well, any guesses on when we might see this? Because that's the question I have, like we have a Nintendo Direct, an hour-long Nintendo Direct this week, by the way. Like very interesting. But
very interesting.
Yeah, man. Like we have not many spots. Like, is the Game Awards like a safe bet? Tokyo Game Show. We'll talk about Tokyo Game Show in a little bit. Where is a good spot for Bethesda to put this little? Yeah. Hey, we're coming to PlayStation. Maybe they mentioned Switch as well. And here's the new DLC. Like, what's a good place for that?
I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't think it's developer direct worthy, right? But I do feel like it's like, maybe that if it's ready, maybe you get in that first half, and kind of get the ball rolling. It depends. It's all dependent on how extensive they're going. So I would like to see it in the first half of 2026, to me personally. You know what I'm saying? I hope I don't have to wait super long, kind of thing. Yeah. And that's just where I'm at right now. The key is going to be how far along, let's be honest, the multi-platform releases. You know what I'm saying? And if the rumors are to be true, that I think they said that there's going to be a Switch version. I was shocked by that when they were like, there's going to be a Switch version.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. But did you see what happened with Star Wars Outlaws? Not to interrupt you, but break it. It kind of puts into perspective like how some games might find their way. 'Cause Star Wars Outlaws apparently on Switch 2 is like really good.
Yes,
like it runs really well. And they were saying like it actually got Digital Bros collected a W.
What's up?
Which is game key cards. Ubisoft was talking about how sorry, I'm not going to get into the technical part of it because I read the quote, but I don't remember it off the top of my brain. But it was something along the lines of like the way data streams, the way it loads, the game key card gave us better performance by doing it digitally rather than loading it on the card.
Got it.
Which was really interesting to read because it's the first time we've really heard about this. But I mean, we know Starfield ain't going to be a full physical 64 gigabyte cartridge. Like, we know that's a game key card in the making. Yes. So I wonder if that's something to kind of pick at there, where Starfield on Switch 2 is more possible than we imagined. But I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
That's pretty much it. I mean, or it could be a situation where, even though I'm thinking a simultaneous release, it may more likely be a PlayStation release and maybe staggered to Switch a month or two later, because we have seen that as well too. So my main thing is the more up-to-date version of this game on other platforms with a strong story could give them a jolt to the correction and on the right path. So that's where I'm at with it. And I'm pulling for them, man, because I still love that game. I don't care what I say. It's just, they got to get it together. They got to get it together so that people can really see what the full vision was supposed to be.
I agree. Let's stick with Bethesda a little bit. This time we're looking at MachineGames, where they dropped a quote I've been waiting to hear for a while. Last we heard about Wolfenstein 3, it was Pete Hines who said, we're definitely doing a Wolfenstein 3, but this is like 2017, right? This is pre-Indiana Jones, pre-Xbox. Like, a lot could change between then and now. We also got Youngblood after that. Like, that was the latest Wolfenstein game. So you kind of felt like it killed the franchise too. And when Indy's doing as well as it does, and it's making that noise, and they did a great job with it, why we go back to Wolfenstein? I mean, I could think of good reasons why, but I'm talking as like a fan, not like what's the business rationale here. Well, they just did a little documentary with no clip, and Dirk Gustafson, who's one of the studio leads, said he's always seen BJ's story as a trilogy, adding that, quote, that journey for BJ, even those first weeks at id Software when we mapped out New Order and we still had the plan, at least what would happen in the second one, what would happen in the third one. I think it's important to say, because at least I hope we're not done with Wolfenstein yet. We have a story to tell, end quote. So again, what we see here is we're hitting the refresh button, right? Like we take that 2017 quote, now we're putting it in 2025. Like, it doesn't read to me like, at least I hope, does not read like we're doing it. Like, we're going to do it even. It reads like we still want to. We just don't know when. So what do you make of this, COD? Wolfenstein 3 seems like it's in the cards. How are we feeling? I mean, for me, I'm excited. I'm
excited. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. Come on, Wolfenstein BJ, come on. This is the man. This is one of the most crazy franchises. I mean, man, it controls good, feels good, and what's it? Man, what was it? Colossus? I don't want to spoil it, because there's an image in my head. The game freaked me out, and I think you know what image that is. And then I was like, I can't believe this game is doing this. This is wild, crazy. Because I was like, yo, they just did that? Oh, and then, it was very ballsy for them to do something. Again, not Youngblood. What was the joint before? Is it New Colossus? Why am I forgetting the names right now?
It was first New Order. Then it was Old Blood.
I always get the names,
which was the expansion, and then
2017 was New Colossus.
New Colossus was the sequel. Yeah, that was 2. Yeah, Wolfenstein 2, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, and then after that, we got Youngblood. We also got Cyberpilot, which is the VR game. But
correct. Okay, so respect. But yeah, New Colossus. I was like, yo, this is nuts. I absolutely love that game. And just to see what they were doing and where they go with the story. So again, to hear that it was supposed to be a trilogy, obviously we know we got sidetracked a little bit with Indy and MachineGames, and obviously working with Todd picked them to do that. But yeah, I would love them to go back to their roots if they're ready, kind of thing. My only concern, which I will talk to you later, is Indy, man. Indy is something, and it is.
I see now. Okay.
Yeah, and it's. I'm very curious if parties involved, from what I hear, want to continue what they got going on. Because I got stuff to say when we get to what's going on with Indy lately. And that's my concern. It's also a combination of what the studio wants to do, right? A lot of times we're seeing, and I think, I hate to bring this up to you, but I don't know if you saw what Sucker Punch and Sly Cooper comments. They just, you didn't.
Wait. Is this recent? Is this recent?
This is recent. Yeah.
No, what did they say?
Let me try to find the quote. I don't want to misquote, but it was something along the lines of like,
Hang on. Hold your comment.
I'm sorry.
I got to hold on something.
Yeah, I ain't want to do that to the bro. You know what I'm saying? But I thought you. Yeah.
All right. Hit me with it, bro.
All right, bro. So it was something to the effect like they were asked, and it just doesn't seem like they're interested in doing that right now. And a lot of people
still love you. I still understand you. I know why you were the PS2 3D platforming mascot. Like, it wasn't Ratchet. It wasn't Jack and Daxter, no matter what anyone says. It was you, brother. It was you. It was this raccoon right here in my hand.
He was the chosen one.
Come on now. Come on.
Bro, I was. Let me see if I can find. I'm going to find it because I don't want to misquote and get you.
If you got, crazy. I know I'm not alone on this. If there's Sly merch, there are people like me who got it, right? Like, bro, I got this Sly merch here, E3 2018. Got this bad boy with the anniversary. U2s, I don't give a shit about U2s, but bro, they did Sly. Come on, bro.
Salute.
And look at this thing sold stupid well when they did the port and emulated Sly 1, 2, and 3. Like it has thousands of reviews on the PSN. I'm not saying maybe it sold millions. I don't know, but like this brother can make it nowadays. He can make the cut. Just like Ratchet can make the cut. He can make the cut. Jacket, I'm telling you, that PS2 trio can still make the cut. All three of them can still make the cut. We know Ratchet can, but listen, I'm gonna put my friend to rest now.
Put the homie away for a little bit because I know you're going through it right now. And once you do that, I sent you the link. So I just want you to read it because I don't want to read it. And I was just like, I thought you saw this. I was like, I don't want to be the guy to do that. So I was like, I'm just going to send it to you. And just you can read what Nate Fox was saying. And I was just like,
it's been a long time since Sly Cooper's come out.
But before that.
You might send me. Hold on. Okay, I don't see. I see the video. I don't see.
You don't see the quote.
I just see. It's been a long time since Sly Cooper's come out.
Ghost of Yotai co-director Nate Fox says that only.
I misread that.
Yeah, that part.
Okay, co-director of Ghost of Yotai Nate Fox says only 10% of Sucker Punch Productions would be really excited to develop a new Sly Cooper game. Clean house, bro. Clean house, bro. We're already having people find new jobs. This is the best reason for it out of anything we've seen in this generation. There you go, right there. 10%, Nate. 10%.
Yeah. So it just again, and then someone quote tweeted it that went kind of viral, which was that somebody said it's a sobering reminder that sometimes the answer to why don't they make a new one is they don't want to, and I'm like, damn,
that's fair. I appreciate them. You know what? Here's the thing, though. Here's what I love about Sucker Punch. They do not avoid this question. They do confront the Sly questions. Like, they've literally made public statements, been like, we're not doing Sly. I mean, they've been firm on it. I just think it's whack as fuck. I'm like, the people want it. The extra 90% that you've decided to hire hasn't been like, what's this thing everyone gives a shit about? Like, going back to it, an open world Sly game. Here's the thing, bro. Who's the 10% who's putting in the Sly Cooper Easter eggs in these games? You tell me.
Facts. He was in Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
He had a Ghost of Tsushima whole skin. I had to do a couple steps. It was fire to do that. I was like,
and we lost Sinzaru Games, so it's not like they can make another Sly game. We lost them a while ago. So, they did Thieves in Time, which I thought was good. I know we were talking about Wolfenstein, but man, I don't think I can talk about anything else now.
No, I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Well, Wolfenstein hopefully completes the trilogy, but I'm with you that indie, like, that's a trade-off I could make, but I think since the story's not done, like, it would make sense to just finish it there. Because I think about Doom, there is that feeling of like, with Dark Ages, I went, okay, like, it's done, at least in my head. I could be wrong, but like, it feels like it's done. But we'll see if Wolfenstein gets the same treatment and gets the opportunity to finish things up.
No doubt.
All right, next up here, Hollow Knight Silksong. This is the week that many of you have been waiting for. The game appears to be delivering, but as with any viral title, it comes with its own set of records being broken, but also a little bit like controversy, a strong word, but it's stirring up some emotions for sure. So Steam player count for Hollow Knight Silksong, 587,000 all-time concurrent. That's excluding things. Remember, this is day one Game Pass.
Bro.
It broke down the store for Xbox, for Steam, for PlayStation. And we're talking about an indie game that did not have like when I say marketing, I mean like, it's not like it was on television. It wasn't AAA, and it broke these storefronts.
That is insane.
Yeah. Very crazy. So this game is doing really well. It's being sold for $20, which is just $5 more than the original Hollow Knight was charging.
Mm-hmm.
As we talked about last week, Polygon was not having fun with the surprise announcement of Silksong coming out on September 4th. Mm-hmm. But also, there were some game developers talking a bit about how what Team Cherry is doing might destabilize the indie market. And I will just preface this all by saying, and as this is, mind you, as someone who's not shipped a game, so maybe that's something I can change, but I find a lot of these concerns incredibly unfounded. And I did take a glance at the replies to this one developer, and a lot of people seem to be in the same boat that I'm in. But over on Twitter, Basti Games, who's the developer of Lone Fungus, Melody of Spores, said the following, quote, "As a dev making a smaller Metroidvania than Silksong, which I originally thought would be fairly priced at $20 US, what should I price it now? It'll be a 10 to 15 hour game, but it was made by one person with limited dev time and funds. I can't afford to give it away for free." And I think cost is always going to be variable, right? Like that's like, it's up to, like, if those 10 to 15, the reality is that I don't think people are ready to hear at the moment, because Silksong is all the hype, is like those 10 to 15 hours could be more valuable than anything Silksong ends up giving you. It could be more impactful. You can charge what you want to charge. Like I remember talking to Graham, who worked at like past tense. He worked at Drinkbox.
Drinkbox, yes, I've been.
Awesome dude. And I know when I talked to him about game pricing, because I had a bunch of questions to him when we were getting started up, and he told me like I think actually he also talked about an interview, but he said like we bring up a whole spreadsheet, we literally log competitive titles, we look at all their prices, and we just look at our own game, and it's kind of like a vibe thing. Like you just kind of feel like where's the right point, like what's the quality, what are we pushing, what can we ask for, what's the competition doing, because what you don't want to have happen from what we've seen with other games is being caught flat-footed and you're the one with like the short end of the stick. Like even when delays happen, like, oh, Avowed and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 end up like right next to each other. It's like, you don't want to be in that moment where you go, wow, I wish we put our best foot forward. Kind of want to start that initially. So I think with something like a 10 to 15 hour game, we're getting into that pocket again where I'm glad to see a lot of the consumer base understands, but like, especially indie games, it's like, they have a very fluid pricing approach. It's not like what Xbox is doing with, say, The Outer Worlds 2, where it's like, you're published by Xbox, you're 70, withstanding a couple of games like South of Midnight. But we're getting into that pocket where some people are equating length with value, but also we see one mega hit and we think that's the standard for everything. We know why Hollow Knight is special. Silksong can be replicated in a sense, like, but a lot of things have to line up for you. Your game has to sell a lot to basically have your small team be given what feels like an infinite budget and time. And you have to have a really good pipeline and you have to just be working forward the whole time. Like, yeah, it's insane value they're providing, but I think everyone knows this is not always going to be it's great. It's what you want, but not every game is going to be like, here's 80 hours of content, $20, please. Especially when you sold 13 million copies of your previous game in like 4 years while you were making this one, and they all came from the hype of this one. So I'm usually not on like when people like bandwagon being like, you can't do what Baldur's Gate did, or you can't do what like Kingdom Come did. I'm like, no, some of you are coping. But I think when it comes to like price point and that sort of stuff, like, yeah, like this is a very rare treat we're getting here. I think Team Cherry could have easily charged $30 for this and done just as well. But also, when you have as much money as they have, you don't need to charge full price of that. This game could have easily been like a $40 game.
Yeah. But
they don't. I mean, part of what benefited Hollow Knight was its accessibility. Like, oh, it's just $15. And when it's on sale, it's like $5. Great. So those are my 2 cents on it, Cog. I'm curious where you stand on it with the price point. Because sometimes like just even thinking head to head, I think is not the right way to approach it. But
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this subject?
It's a good topic because, obviously Hollow Knight is just such an outlier as far as we've never really seen anything like that. Again, an indie operating almost in like GTA-like fashion in terms of just completely breaking stores, shutting the internet. People didn't even have enough time, to really, I guess, pre-order stuff because I don't always call it a stealth drop, but it was very sudden like, hey, we're going to come out, on a Friday and stuff like that. And truth be told, a lot of the indie community, very terrified, and especially those in proximity, right? And I get that part. But to your point, Hollow Knight is just such a unique situation because it's like they had an existing game and an existing base, and they were afforded this amazing situation that just doesn't really happen often. So you have to look at your game and say, okay, my price to value ratio, what are we offering, and kind of stick with it. Now, I will empathize with them on one thing, though. Unfortunately, even though me and you are being reasonable, there are going to be gamers that they see whatever game from what these guys are, Basti Art Game, or whoever that has a Metroidvania. And I'm actually going to talk about one in a minute later on. And it's just like, they're going to be like, oh, but you ain't, you know what I'm saying? You only, you know what I mean? Like, there are gamers that now, because we have an Expedition 33 or we have a Baldur's Gate, they gonna be like, they may look at them like, well, why I gotta pay that money for this when these guys gave me all of that? You should have been $10. Like, there are gamers, I'm trusting.
Yeah. We can't pretend that doesn't exist.
Yeah, they got, and I do empathize. But to your point, I'm overall with your point, which is like, you have to competitively look at your title, price to length and price to value proposition, and then come up with your termination and stick with it, kind of thing. The only thing I don't get mad at people is if they say, because I had this argument with King on Sunday on IFE, which is like, bro, like, he's like, yo, if you're in proximity, you got to come out regardless. And I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, sometimes it's okay to live and fight another day.
Oh, 100%. Spend more money and make more.
Yeah, get yourself away from if you can. Yeah. If you can. Sometimes you're not afforded that. But if you can, move your day. We've seen some, actually do. And we see it going on with GTA, right? So we see it. Yeah. So that's all I was trying to say. But yeah, I get it. But overall, with your thought process, look at your evaluation, do your competitive pricing. Don't try to go one-to-one. Look at what you do, stick with what's a fair price and lock it out. But, I get where they are concerned with the general non-reasonable game, in which there are a lot non-reasonable games.
Yeah. I think it's always going to come down to a lot of short-term, long-term things. Like, you have to assess what's recently happened and obviously what the market is. Like, hey, we're an indie game, check. Metroidvania, check. Our amount, check. What do we think the quality is? Check. You price it based on that. But then you have to look at like what's happening, what's coming up. Like, you have to assess all of these things before you really put a final price tag on it, because again, you also have to think about what's our sale price. Like, for him, $20 is fine because he's talking about like 10 to 15 or something below that. And it's like, dude, once you deep discount your game, like, you're within the first month gonna probably already be down to where people feel you should be. And that's also where it's just like genre fans matter. Like, I bought Lies of P might not be the best example because it's like probably one of my favorite Souls likes ever, but like, I'm not what's another example of like a from soft style game, Wu Chang. Like, it's like you're a fan of the Souls like genre. Right. And so you're by default interested in it. And I think if you're like a Metroidvania fan, this game looks good, the price kind of sorts itself out in your subconscious. You're like, I'm already into this thing. Like, the buy-in's kind of there. So the quality just has to be there. I think so long as we're pushing quality, like if you're just forcing this thing out, that's where it becomes a problem. And that's why everyone gets their back up. It's like price matters a shit ton. So does quality. I think as long as those two are taken care of in a responsible way, you'll always get rewarded. Because that's what at least right now, in this current climate, that's what people are looking for. I can't say for like the future, but at least right now, it's like if you're honest, you're authentic, you put quality first, you price it fairly, you really have the opportunity to surprise people. 10 out of 10 times, it's going to work in your favor. So
it's the best you can do. That's what you can do. Yeah. My only concern is that I do feel because we have so much game saturation, that unfortunately there will be some that even though they put out quality, it's just like, man, whether it be timing or whatever, it's just like, man, they didn't get the look that they deserved. Yeah. And I know for a fact, because I'm the one that's always trying to signal boost, like, yo, guys, this game right here that nobody's talking about is fire. Like, oh my God, I feel for them sometimes. But yes, to your point though, a lot of times if you really hit the mark, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times, you will get at least the look or the critical review, like, yo, that was a nutty. So because let's be real, like let's take it to Obsidian for like Pentiment is a good game.
Yeah.
Great. You know what I'm saying? Pentiment is a really exceptional game. And they had a lot of signal boosts from, but it just didn't really sell. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, sometimes we'll have those moments, not all the time, but we'll have those moments sometimes we're like, man, I wish that would have got a better bump financially, by the market.
Yeah, it goes to kind of what you were saying earlier, though, right? Like the live to fight another day, spend a little more to make a little more. Demon School is a great example. Like they delayed because of Hollow Knight Silksong, but I'm like, a lot of people were, Polygon in their article was like trying to get in front of them and defend them. And I'm like, I get it to an extent, but dude, like, I'm sure this will do better for them now because they can put more into it.
Yes.
And when they actually come out, there's going to be like less things in the way of it. Still always have to fight for oxygen. That's why quality needs to come first, because if someone does take a breath of what you're making, it can just really domino effect from there. It's an unpredictable market. I get the strife, but I think trying to size yourself up to like a genre goat never really, especially in the indie genre, just never really. Because like what Balatro is like what, a $10 game or something like that.
Yeah,
and it's just like $10 less than this other high quality single player game. It's like it's never going to be 1-to-1 comparable. So, all right, we got a rumor here. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth due out on Xbox in 2026. This is from Nate the Hate. He says that it is coming to Switch 2 and Xbox in 2026. Says you'll get your answer on how it runs on Switch 2 next year. With some well-utilized DLSS, Square Enix can deliver Rebirth on Switch 2. So Nate the Hate continues his leak streak. How do we feel about waiting for a little 7 Rebirth on Xbox into 2026? Do you think this was arriving a little bit sooner?
Yes, just a little bit. Because again, my theory, I think me, you, and Colin did the Sacred Symbols Plus on what games would come to PlayStation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, let's talk about the easy stuff that doesn't count, which is kind of like Square no longer being mercenary. Those are on the list. And my prediction was that they are speeding up the ports so that the eventual trilogy, if I had to guess, whatever that last name, did they come up with the final name for the trilogy yet? Not yet. But whatever the third iteration is going to be of Final Fantasy VII, quote unquote, remake, rebirth, whatever. I think they're going for the multi-plat release on that.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%.
So the vibe I get now is ramp up. Let's get now Rebirth out there, because obviously, remake is supposed to be coming. I think Switch, they were showing it on Gamescom and stuff like that. Obviously, Xbox got the announcement at the showcase. So now it just sets up that what Square has always really wanted and should have been doing is boom, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch. Here you go. And now we get the revenue we expect, because they got a very high perception of what they feel they need to be getting from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
So I think that's the play. So man, I'm excited. Because that's the only reason. Finally, my holding off paid off, because I was like, this is what I felt was going to happen. I was like, it is going to come to Xbox, and I didn't want to really do this whole thing twice. So I played like a quarter of the way on PlayStation, and I was like, I know, I'm hearing it's coming, and now I'm finally getting the real. And their track record has been really good. You know what I mean? So this is what I think is happening. I would like to continue that as well on Xbox.
100%. So we'll wait for that. And in the meantime, COG, oh boy, this right up here from Tom Henderson had to send this. Sometimes, there's certain news that COG and I have to send each other midweek, a little midweek catch up, be like, yo, how about this one? Let's read the latest piece from Tom Henderson on the PlayStation 6 detachable disk drive planned for the launch. They write, Insider Gaming has learned that PlayStation 6 is planned to have a detachable disk drive when the console launches. First introduced mid-generation for the PS5, the detachable disk drive was a means for PlayStation to reduce its production and shipping costs. For the next generation of the PlayStation, several sources who wish to remain anonymous because they have not been authorized to talk about company plans have said that the detachable disk drive is here to stay for the next generation. Identical to the PlayStation 5 and its detachable disk drive, customers will be able to buy the console individually as a digital console bundled with the PlayStation 6 as a traditional console, or upgrade later by purchasing the detachable disk drive separately. According to one source, unless things are changed at the last minute, PlayStation is firm on the decision because the disk drive for the PlayStation 5 hit all the company's internal targets. Again, it was reiterated by the source that the decision was made to reduce manufacturing and shipping costs during the uncertain times, likely referring to the tariff/trade war. These uncertain times have seemingly influenced PlayStation's decision on the look of the next PlayStation 2, as rumblings suggest that this time around the PlayStation 6 will have a much simpler design than its predecessor, again, to maximize efficiency, shipping space, and weight, and so on. Even as late as this month, we can expect PlayStation to introduce a new PlayStation 5 Slim revision to the market, which will launch with an 825 gigabyte hard drive instead of the standard 1 terabyte. It's also believed that, like with all PlayStation 5 revisions, the new revision will reduce the console's weight, indicating that PlayStation is trying to save pennies where and when necessary. While the news of a detachable disk drive may not be shocking to some, it's best of both worlds, as it allows PlayStation to cater to both physical and digital markets while reducing costs. COG. Unbelievable news. I did not see this coming. I did not see this coming at all. I don't know if that makes me naive or just how down bad I was, whatever it may be. I did not see this coming where I was like, okay, Switch committed a little bit. Like, we know, okay, we got the cartridge slot, like, but Switch benefits with physical more. Like we talked last week, Cyberpunk 2077, 75% of its sales physical. Like, there's data consistently supporting that Switch just finds its way on the physical market. But Xbox, we know, is like taking a walk. They're like, we're good, fam. I thought PlayStation was going to follow. I had, again, when you saw where they were going with like emulation, you know, they were doing cloud streaming, some of their games being downloadable. I mean, there was so many reasons why I was like, yeah, they don't value physical as much and they're getting with those times. However, to see the detachable disk drive means that they plan to support it at least for another generation, which is more than I expected. I really thought this was my belief and thought process, for those who don't know, really was, we get these next gen consoles, there is no disk drive on them, and there is nothing that comes with it to eventually enable that. It does make a little bit of sense that, like, hey, people have built up physical libraries and they want to keep and use those. And this is, as Tom wrote, the best of both worlds. It's like, I get taken care of, COG gets taken care of, the system's lighter, so PlayStation gets taken care of. This is great. But I really thought with the way games are produced, the money it costs to manufacture, print the discs, like all of this is budgetary stuff, right? I felt like in this era of nickel and diming, especially where we're talking about just reducing the cost to get around the trade war. Right when I saw all of this start to line up, I'm like, yeah, I don't want physical games to go, but I get why it's become a bit of a boutique, a niche business. And, you know, you just got to let it go, Matt. You know, you got to let it go. And that ultimately, you know, things like limited run games are the best you're going to get. And that'll probably be for like PS5 and prior. And that's all you've got. But at least one more generation was more than I personally expected. Now, COG, with this news as part of Team Digital, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you're feeling for one more generation of physical games, at least on PlayStation. And of course, what you think this means for Xbox and their physical game plans. Because, sorry, last thing I'll just add is simply this. We're talking about, I think, a fork in the road moment where Xbox could choose to do what they've done before and stand on their square, right? they can stand on their square and be like, all right, look, like we believe the future is digital. And I think in a lot of ways they have every reason and right to believe that. I don't think Xbox is wrong at all. However, we know how optics are a big factor if the PS4 Xbox One generation was anything to go by. The famous 30-second commercial that broke the back of Xbox that one summer night. What was it? E3 2013. Whew. You can share your game like this. This is how you share games on PlayStation. Whew. Brutal, bro. Granted, I was still there. I was still there day one for my Xbox One because the games were fire. But PlayStation won the optics war, and we saw how the console war turned out. So this is one of those moments, Cog, where I feel like if, PlayStation goes this route, they're like, we're going to do the detachable disk drive. Mm-hmm. Will Xbox match that? Do they want to match that? And especially given their base is more digital than anybody, do they have the desire to ever try and match that? This is, I think, I don't want to oversell it because we don't know what they're feeling in the building, but from my point of view, I'm like, this has to be a curveball where they're like, oh shit, they're going more physical. But I don't know. What is your read of this whole situation?
This is it. This is big news, man. Big news. Shout out to PlayStation. I love the statement that they said they're firm on the decision because the disk drive for the PS5 hit all the company internal targets. And look, for at the start of this generation, obviously, remember, we heard Xbox's announcements. They're doing a dual SKU approach, Series S, digital, and then you got the big boy, the Series X, and it's going to have the disc there. And I remember when PS5 launched, and I'm just going to tell you what the perception felt to me. When they launched PS5, remember when they had a PS5 digital, right?
Yeah.
I never got the sense, because I remember people were trying to look for that unit. And that unit was very hard to find. And to me, it was like they were both playing a game of chicken. Remember, no one wanted to release their date and the price, remember?
Yeah.
It took a long time for us to find out. It was driving us crazy. When are they going to say the release dates? When are they going to say the price? What's going on? They both knew what the other one was doing in a way, but they didn't want to go first. And then finally, when I think Series X got leaked, I believe Series S got leaked first.
Yes.
And then, so now PlayStation comes behind, and then they offer a digital version. But I remember people they were like, Cog, we cannot find this device. It's in very limited quantity. So if I always looked at it as something that they didn't necessarily want to do all the way, but they couldn't have the Series S out there just completely undercutting them. Right. And they had to have a nice competitive price point with a cheaper PlayStation 5. But to me, I look at, let's say there are 80 million PS5s out there. I'm just guessing. Mm-hmm. That if you look at their splits, I would assume that their splits are much higher. Again, I'm making up. I don't have data. I should have had data for you. But I would assume it's more than 60 or 70% of their base is probably still on, physical. And I think it makes sense for them. Now, granted, they ain't slick. They want to go there. They would love to, remove a lot of this cost and, like you said, we're involved with physical games. But that's why I think you hit them with the nickel and dime. Like, yo, you want it? All right, cool. Here's the detachable. My only question for them, because I love that the fact that they are still leading the charge on physical. But my only question is, my only hope is that please remove some online requirement for your disk drive.
Yeah.
That wasn't cool. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to go, we have to go online just to kind of quote unquote register this thing or whatever. Some people say, hey, Cog, it's a minor thing. It's not a big deal. It's a one-time thing. But I would just hope that, that wouldn't, be part of the process. But now to your other question, which is, what's Xbox going to do? Don't get your hopes up. I'm sorry. Everything about their ecosystem screams non-physical. Everything about it. Even down to their splits, which I believe the Series S is either up or at least 60-40 comparatively to how many more people have Series S's than X's. So you got that, which is, you got your all digital console, kind of almost more than half of your base has it. Then your whole entire service is a subscription service that is almost exclusive to your platform that is primarily digital way to access games. Then you have Xbox Play Anywhere, where if you get the digital license of said game, you can play that on PC. Then, it's like everything about, then you're talking PC multiple storefronts on your potential next device and Xbox ROG Ally, which, by the way, PC is all digital. Nothing to them, nothing about them screams that they are leading the charge, that they will. Now, I will give you this. They may see this, right? And maybe if they were going to go 100%, maybe this pressures them in a Maddie way to say, all right, we can't have PlayStation completely out there with that. And maybe we need to offer the option. But I would assume they don't want to do that. If I had to guess what the stakeholders were, they would have, not cut as much cost as far as making the hardware itself, because now the margins, and I'm getting the sense they don't want to do any less subsidization. So yeah, man, we'll see. I will be shocked if they still do that. Like, shout out to PlayStation. This is a big step, though. This is a huge step for Physical Bros, for the number one platform. Number two compared to Switch Bros. Don't come at me. You know what I'm saying? Like, for them to say we're still committed to it is a big victory for next gen. We don't know how long anything past next gen, and maybe the disk drive represents the transitional phase before another gen and when it completely goes away. But this is a big deal. Shout out to them. I know you're happy because you team Physical, and this is huge that people still get to keep those discs and those libraries, and they actually mean something, especially collector bros. Like, I love collector bros. So that's one thing I do miss. And I hate sometimes, I'm like, damn, like, what's the purpose of a collector's edition sometimes on Xbox when there's like no disc on it? What I'm saying? I'm literally just buying a toy, or I'm buying like the extra stuff just for the sake of having it. But I mean, shout out to Shinobi, they had the disc in there, for the Xbox version on limited run. But no, this is a big victory.
Well, time will tell what happens to us physical brothers and sisters. But for now, Dead Island 3. How about that? Strangely, same month that we're about to get Dying Light the Beast. I was playing a little bit of Dying Light 1 earlier this week, and I got to say, that game has aged pretty marvelously.
Yeah, Attic loves that game.
Just like, again, another one of those games that if you fire it up on like a current PC, you'll be like, why do we push for fidelity again? Like, this still looks that Metal Gear Solid 5, like these 2015 games, aging like fine wine right now. Anyway, Dying Light 3, or 2, I should say, really surprised a lot of people, given it was passed around a ton and couldn't find a home. Finally finds a home, and then by that point, we're like, well, it's probably going to be bad. And it turns out it's really good, especially because Dying Light was out and about, and it kind of reestablished itself as like the premier zombie franchise. But Dead Island 2 does really well. And so developer Dam Buster Studios posted an image alongside a caption on their Steam page and said, quote, "It's been 14 years since Dead Island first splattered onto the scene, stranding players in the blood-soaked paradise of Banoi. Since then, the zombopocalypse has crawled from tropical shores to the sun-drenched chaos of Hell A in Dead Island 2, where over 20 million slayers have left nothing but carnage behind. This isn't the final cut, though. Dam Buster Studios are already carving out what comes next. For now, the details stay under wraps, but the outbreak is far from over." So yeah, we're getting a little more Dead Island. This game sold really well. During a time, by the way, where like Embracer was axing everybody. So this was very fortuitous for Dam Buster, because I'm sure they would have been within that fold of cuts. But this performed really well on the market, sold millions of copies, 20 million players. Really impressive. So yeah, Dead Island 2, very deserved success, although the story is ass, bro. I will tell you right now. Like, I don't mean that in like the usual Maddie critique. Like, it's a hilarious type of bad when you get, I'll just say, for those who beat it, the ending cutscene is, unless they change something in updates or anything, someone can correct me then, but like, this ending cutscene is terrible. It's so bad. But it kind of adds to it, because Dead Island never had, Dying Light's the same thing, never had a good story, but this is like a special type of bad. But the combat is so fun. The world's great. I mean, it's just like a nice old school zombie hack and slash game, but just awesome. So I'm happy to see they're continuing on doing a Dead Island 3. I have a lot of great memories with Dead Island. Did you ever play the second one though, Cog? What do you think of Dead Island 3?
I kind of, sorry, Dead Island bros. Like,
oh no,
I kind of got zombie fatigue.
Yeah, that's fair.
I got a little zombie. And
Walking Dead's fault.
Yeah, bro, it's so much. And then there's only really 2 games from the zombie genre that I kind of stick with now, and obviously Last of Us is one, but as far as a single player, but I'm more of a state of decay guy. I'm a permadeath, build my baby, because that represents me making my own little Walking Dead episode with my own little survivors and who's gonna live, and I like that. Like that to me, we gotta find food, that's the part of the the zombie stuff that I like. And I will be honest, I've kind of gone away from the I don't want to call it satirical zombie games.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Am I being unfair?
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. It's like a goofy,
like
comedically violent,
Yeah, like Dead Rising was what I consider that genre, right? And I'm like, okay, it's fun for me for a little while, but then after a while, I get disinterested. Like, I like the idea of community and surviving and resources, and I like the darker, desolate. We ain't got no food, we ain't got no more water. Like, that's what intrigued me about Walking Dead kind of thing. So again, a salute to them, because I know this franchise, people love it. And this last one, that went through development hell. And for them to come out with a dope product, minus the ending that you said, I was very impressed. I was like, yo, that looks really good. And a lot of people that played it, people would tell me like, bro, it's dope. And that is rare, because most of the time, games like that switch hands that much, you might get like a Mindseye situation. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like, like salute to that. Shout out to, was it Dan Buster?
Dan Buster.
Yeah, salute them. They have a good following. It did, like, that is impressive, man. So salute to Dan. I'm probably not going to be there for you on this, but I love that you get to live to fight another day, and you got a great community that is down for the crowd. And I will say, that trailer was one of the most hilarious trailers.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh, bro, I was laughing. I was like, all right, that's dope. So yeah, salute to them. They're continuing what I consider the satirical zombie genre, and there's a base for that, clearly.
Yeah, it's so funny because they did Homefront: The Revolution. I remember when this game got passed to Dan Buster, I was like, oh, this shit's cooked, bro. Homefront, I played a little bit of Homefront: The Revolution. But Homefront's like a series with just a ton of missed potential, in my opinion. Like, the original was good, but like, just to follow it up like that, I was like, wow, they're passing it to this team. Like, that's crazy. And for them to have as big of a success as they did is even crazier. But I'm with you on zombie fatigue. Like, one thing I love about Dying Light is at nighttime, the game has like, these zombies are a threat. Because I think what a lot of these shows, movies, games struggle with is all the same thing, which is they turn them into this big horde, and they become a non-factor by the end of your journey. Like, they're either really easy to kill, or like The Walking Dead. I don't know if it's good now, but like, when I stopped watching it, it got into this pocket where the zombies are a byproduct. Like, yeah, pop, got you. It's a human problem now. And I get why it evolves into that, but like, if the zombie isn't always the threat, I just view the whole zombie genre a lot like fantasy. Like, fantasy's always got your mage, your rogue, your warrior. It's like, it becomes like, we can only work with so much here. It's got magic, but with zombies, it's always like, yeah, they're a horde. They crawl at you. Someone that you love gets bit. Like, that narrative loop has ran its track so many times now that zombies need to evolve to be narratively interesting, but gameplay wise, they can be fun. And I think Dead Island 2 is a testament to that. Same thing with Dead Island or a Dying Light, and I'm looking forward to Dead Island 3. So
nice.
Look forward to that. But Helldivers 3 basically confirmed. I actually found this a little bit surprising, because Helldivers 2 is having another resurgence, one of many. And here we have the studio CEO, Shams Georgiani, talking with the audience via their Discord. And they were asked about a social hub in the vein of Destiny 2's Tower. And he said it is on the feature list for the next one. And so it's interesting, because I'm like, well, when is the next one? Because it's also mentioned here in this IGN article, the production director for Arrowhead in just this April said, we want it to be around, it being Helldivers 2, for years and years and years to come. So I don't know how because like, a lot of these games, like, I mean, this player base is huge, right? And like, once they get established, like, when's the right time to move on to a 3? Which we talk about with Destiny, right? It's like, I think once you hit that cutoff, then you move to 3. But you can also get trapped in that number 2, kind of like Payday did. Payday got trapped in number 2. They updated it for like 14 years, and then no one wanted to reset because resetting made no sense. So I wonder when they want to cut it, when they want to say, all right, enough's enough, we're moving on to Helldivers 3. But nonetheless, found this to be very interesting given the success that they found here. So Cog, what do you make of little Helldivers 3 confirmation?
Yeah, shout out to them. I mean, this is big. I mean, the fact that that's on the docket. We did hear that they were doing another game, right? That was what we heard about. Like, they were They thanked PlayStation for, the whole PlayStation, the Helldivers 2 relationship, but they kind of announced that the next game would be multi-platform. But I'm assuming that game is not Helldivers. That is something else. That's what I'm assuming. But this, first of all, I love the idea of a Destiny social hub. That's one of the fun parts of Destiny. Like you log in, you go to the tower, you see other people running around, and then their tone of that game is absolutely hilarious. Now that I don't mind the satiricalness with that because it's very army-like. It's all right, soldier, come on. Like it's just ridiculous. And they've got the ships that you name the ship, and you got they could do something with that. So I could see that for the next iteration. But to your point, now they gotta walk this fine line because now you've got the Xbox player base who completely gravitated towards it. I'm looking at it right now. It's number 8 in top 10. Still, it's going strong. You know what I'm saying? As far as most play games on Xbox, right next to college football, right next to NBA 2K26 in the mix with all of that. So it's extremely impressive. I know they got a roadmap because I was watching. They got this Unjusting. They got a bunch. So I guess the key is going to be, like you said, you got to be careful, right? Like with how Payday 2, you want to satiate the base, do what you got to do. But I know they probably have other future features that maybe they can't implement. And maybe it's a next gen thing. You know what I'm saying? And maybe they say, you know what, let's just wait until we get the tech and then we can really go out. And that's what I'm hoping they do. Yeah. Unlike another game that I love so much that is just doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Spinning its wheels.
Yeah, they try hard to catch a wave, Destiny, right now. It's a mess. But yeah, it's not looking good. People are not happy. But but shout out to Helldivers, man. This is big. This is big. I think they potentially have something. And my hope is Helldivers 3 is a next gen situation, simultaneous launch. Ride this out. You got this new player base. I don't know if you want to cut that, to your point, right now when you're just sitting pretty. You're on fire with engagement.
Yeah. I think you ride it out for another year or two.
Yeah, for sure.
Go from there. Well, this is a bummer. Resident Evil 5 remake isn't happening, at least not yet. This comes from Dusk Golem, who regularly leaks a lot of Resident Evil related stuff. Decent track record, so I wouldn't call it take it to the bank in the terms of my leak rating, but definitely up there with consider it heavily. Now, for those who are Code Veronica fans, which I've not played this one, but Code Veronica remake, he writes, has been in development since 2022, around 3 years of development now, and it's ahead of schedule due to a very smooth dev cycle. RE5 remake, though, has not been greenlit at this time. He says, I'm 100% sure on both these things. And this sucks because, Resident Evil 5, I mean, number one, I feel like they teased Resident Evil 5 remake at the end of Resident Evil 4 remake. And so there was that element to it, which made it feel like, oh, they're doing it next. But there's also with the Resident Evil 4 remake, some of the AI for your follower companion in Ashley or Sheva in the case of 5 was kind of figured out. People started to connect the dots of some of the pieces are here for them to remake 5. But also, man, I wanted 5 to be remade, not only because it's one of my favorites, but it's one of my favorites because it was one of the first ones I played, to be transparent. But it's definitely a game that's in that list of 360 PS3 titles that was hated upon its release, but that people will come to understand one day. I put it on a list right next to Final Fantasy 13, where I'm y'all can hate, but when it comes back, especially 13-2, you'll be reminded endlessly of why this was always a pretty good series. That's my hot take stance. I'm not saying that 5 is, as I've played more of the franchise, is the best, but I definitely have a big soft spot for it. I love it. I love co-op Resident Evil. So to see it's not happening at all is a little bit of a bummer because, again, this is a great co-op game. One of my first Xbox 360, Xbox Live experiences, just hopping in with a friend, running through this campaign so many times. Just so good. So good. I know. I mean, how could you beat Chris punching that boulder?
That was hilarious.
Come on. They made him the super soldier. This guy was Captain America in this game. It was great. Because I think Resident Evil 6 pushes it very far. Resident Evil 6, I used to be a defender of, but when I went back to it a couple of years ago, I was like, I can't. You had that moment, come to Jesus moment, where you're I can't defend this anymore. I have good memories of this one. I always remember getting pulled over, picking that game up because my friend's headlight was out and they saw that, and he just changed his headlight and they saw the headlight box next to my foot. And the cop's what's that in that box there? He thought I had drugs on me or something like that.
You said stash.
I mean, I was this fucking teenager. I was wearing like sweatpants and a hoodie. I looked like probably
you looked
pretty
a little seedy. You was very seedy, Maddie.
Yeah, no doubt. But I was like, we're just going to GameStop, bro. Like we're going to pick up NBA 2K and Resident Evil 6. So that's my core memory with that game. But that aside, Resident Evil 5 remake not happening. Cog though, have you had any experience with Code Veronica? What do you make of no remake for 5 at least yet?
Well, I'm a little selfish because as you recently know, as of recording, it is 9/10. But yesterday was 9/9, September 9th, and 9/9/99 goes down as one of the greatest days in gaming because that was the launch of the Dreamcast.
Yes, sir.
And Dreamcast at its time had an exclusive Resident Evil Code Veronica game. And boy, that was special. And it's one of those ones that it was always a missing gap to get a hold of it. It eventually did come to PlayStation and stuff later and all that stuff. But it's one of those games that's been dying for some form of a remake in some of those systems. And I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, I like 5. But we really need Veronica Bros. We've been hurting. Like, we need that one. That's a very obscure one. So, you know, I know the Chris Redfield gang. I know y'all. Because I'm assuming you a Chris Redfield dude. You should be a Leon dude, but you use a Chris Redfield dude.
No, I actually wouldn't say so. I think I like Leon more. Yeah, no, Chris is
more like Leon anyway.
I just like the setting and the co-op nature.
Yes.
Like the characters and stuff in Resident Evil 5 aren't great. Although I will say I forgot the name of the DLC, but the creepy one that brings you back to the manor. With Jill, that one was really good, but yeah, it's not even the characters. The story. I just love the setting.
The setting's
really good.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's just a fun game.
It's a fun game. No, I get it. Yeah. I get it. And look, of course I want it. You know what I'm saying, like that. But I gotta prioritize Veronica. Veronica fans, they've been desperate, bro.
That's fair. No, they've been very vocal.
They gotta get that. Yeah, so I like that's still going on. You know what I'm saying? But listen, you know what's going to happen. You don't think it's going to happen? I think 5 is going to happen.
No, I think it'll eventually happen. That's why I'm like, it's a bummer, but like I'm not. I also, again, I know nothing about Code Veronica where I just see fans always asking for it. And
we need that Jill Valentine. That was an in the cut joint. You know what I'm saying? Claire Redfield, that was in that. That was an in the cut one, man. It was very unique for its time. Now they still need to update some systems in that one.
Walk me through it. I know literally nothing about this.
Man, it's been a minute. It was just different on the gameplay element. It was still single player stuff like that. You were Claire, but from what I remember, there was a couple of little core mechanics that were a little different from Resident Evil games that people were like, "Yo, it really kind of needs to be modernized." But don't get me wrong, graphically for its time, it was insane. You know what I'm saying? That there's no question about that. But we need the touch on that. It's been out of the loop for a long time. It's been a while. It's been so like that's another reason I vaguely remember I beat it. It's been that long, and then I didn't have Dreamcast no more, and then you know what I'm saying, I didn't get the PlayStation X version or whatever because I already had beat it, and I don't remember the extras being super substantial. Resident Evil Bros, you come after me because remember I just played the Dreamcast one. I beat it. I didn't play it when it came eventually later to PlayStation stuff like that. And all the other platforms and stuff like that. So my thing is like I don't remember. I need to get back in there because I don't remember all the things about it, and it was. But I do remember it being amazing for its time. So yeah, I need it back, man.
Got you. Okay, well, I'm looking forward for just more Resident Evil is always good.
Yeah.
This next one. Just want to pour one out for my Knights of the Old Republic family here. If you just want to bask a little bit in what Aspyr was cooking in 2021, because that's when this concepts artist had made their exit. You can take a look at MP First. They call it a report, but I mean, MP First, with all due respect, just scrapes a lot of LinkedIn profiles and art stations, and they find leaks and scoops that are very useful. But, you know, it's not like, they heard something about the game. But we found some KOTOR Remake concept art here. It's of Kashyyyk, and they actually side by side it with the original games, Kashyyyk. And you could see they were pushing the vegetation a little bit more. The lighting was definitely going to be more of a factor. Good memories. That's all. And I just wanted to keep everyone up to date that there's motion. You know, it's not the motion you're looking for, because if this was like concept work from Saber, we'd be able to like pick this apart and be like, okay, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just concept work. But when I look at something like this, I'm like, all right, it's Spire got booted off the project. It's 2021. Like, who knows if this is even going to look like this? So it's just like, look at it and feel something. Hope, despair, whatever it may be. I look at it and I see good memories.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, this needs to come back. This is one of the GOATs of all time. Like, this has to come back.
Yeah. I mean, last we heard from Saber,
it's still happening.
Making progress. Project's not dead.
Mm-hmm.
They refuted the words of Schreier. Bold thing to do. So
very bold.
Let's hope that they're right and that this ends up being great. But time will tell. Cog, we got a couple more here to round us out. Just quick sales update. Metal Gear Delta Snake Eater, the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, sells 1 million copies in 2 days. Doing pretty solid. I'm curious what its long tail looks like. Again, as I've said a million times, a lot of these games explode out the gate, hit 1 million sales pretty quickly, especially if they're established franchises. But what will it do beyond that? I wonder. Yeah. So I'll be curious to see. But Cog, any thoughts on the sales performance for this?
No, not much. Just the classic getting the love, and obviously they got the patches they got to take care of and stuff like that. Yeah. But to see people just rally behind it that early, a classic franchise is super dope. So yes, out to Metal Gear Delta.
This next one I picked specifically for you. 2K is making a college basketball experience while EA is bailing on that. And EA has always had a cursed time with basketball, so I understand their reluctance. But they wrote on social media, yes, it's true. We're working on a college basketball experience that will feature more than 100 programs from across the country, from Powerhouse to Cinderella stories. Competition fuels quality at all levels, which is why our approach with college basketball ensures our partner schools, college athletes, and all our players benefit. More good news, you won't have to wait long to start seeing your favorite colleges show up in game. We've got big plans for 2027 and beyond, and even a few surprises coming in early 2026. We've proven the quality of the basketball experience we can deliver for years, and we have every intention of bringing that same level of quality to college hoops. Meanwhile, EA. This is first reported by Matt Brown of Extra Points, who got a memo from EA Sports Vice President of Commercial Partnerships and Licensing, Sean O'Brien, said the following in a memo, quote, given there are some schools choosing to accept the 2K Sports proposal for inclusion in NBA 2K, the offer to be included in a college basketball video game will unfortunately have to be rescinded. Everyone at EA Sports is disappointed that we all couldn't find an acceptable path forward, but we appreciate your support in trying to bring a standalone college basketball game with all men's and women's Division I institutions and college student athletes, conferences, as well as the NCAA, in a way that fans have told us they want. We really appreciate your support, end quote. So they haven't made this public. This was internal. But Cog, we have 2K making a basketball experience, which they haven't done since 2K8, College Hoops 2K8. So my question for you are two things. One, do you look at this and think to yourself, they're doing a separate game, or are they packing this into the behemoth that is NBA 2K, and maybe you rise from the streets to college hooping to pro level? Like what's the vibe here? Because they say you're going to see it in 2026 in some way, and I'm like, well, that reads like an update more than a full video game. So what do you think? Are they going to do what basically Madden did with NCAA, or are they going to maybe do something a little bit like a full experience?
Like a full experience. I'm getting full experience vibes. They flirted with like you get before you come to the pros in an NBA 2K kind of game, and then you kind of import your character in kind of thing. They flirted with that from a creative player by player standpoint, but they've been 2K's been actively going after schools. I think it was UCLA was one of the first schools they tried to go after, and they've been slowly doing the groundwork with the college scene to kind of build their empire. Here's the irony in all of this. It was EA who got 2K out of the professional NFL business by getting the exclusive deal with the NFL, and thus 2K, who had the greatest football game of all time, which I've done a presentation of, saying 2K5, greatest football game of all time, easily. And to that day lives in infamy because they were so competitive with EA, challenged them on every AI and simulation-based aspect of the sport, and was a superior product, presentation, everything. EA was so scared, they said, oh no, there's these guys. Again, speaking of Dreamcast, they initially started as visual concepts and made the 2K series, which was amazing. We were like, this is a jump in sports gaming. So they just had that trajectory. EA was so terrified, they made a deal with the NFL to exclusively lock it out. And here's the thing: as much as I hate what happened, all 2K is doing is this is the revenge tour. We're gonna box you out. So now EA is just like, well, now we're gonna rescind because it's unfortunate that people of these schools are going to, you see how life works. This is a karmic cycle. And I'm just like, yo, but in reality, man, like, this doesn't benefit the gamer. No. I'm a guy that likes exclusives, but I'm not a guy who likes exclusive sports games. Yeah. Like, you need competition in sports games. Unfortunately, you're going to get one company to sit on their laurels, and we know how 2K likes now to do all the monetization and the nickel and diming and the VC. And also, I don't like the yearly cycle, because the yearly cycle without competition, you could just be like, oh, we changed the animation on jump shots. That's a new feature this year.
Yeah.
It's nickel and diming, and it doesn't transcend and make the sport better. And I hate that. I'm a guy that was the sports simulation every year. And sometimes we be like, yo, what we getting this year? We getting NBA Live or we getting 2K? I miss that. And it forced our dudes to step up. But now EA has been completely gotten their head beaten. They don't even want to compete now. Like, EA's to the point where they're like, all right, we got football. We ain't even going to mess with basketball like that.
They have the football empire, right? You got both series. Like,
yeah. And I don't even like it with MLB because it's like, don't get me wrong. The show is the truth. But I'm from the era of MVP baseball. I'm from the era of high heat baseball, all-star. You need, and I don't want it just to be, all you do is one person makes the goofy arcade game and one person makes the simulation game, and that's it. Nah, bro. Like, I want everyone to be challenged. That's how we as the consumer get the better product. So I don't like this. I like that college basketball is coming back. I like that schools, are going to get, I guess their little bread or whatever in reference to that. But I just don't like having a monopoly on a sports league in terms of video games.
It's just funny to think about how many, like when you brought up the baseball games, how many there were. Like MVP, Ken Griffey baseball, which I remember that on the N64 and the Game Boy. Yeah. We talked about All-Star Baseball was one I went to a lot. All-Star Baseball 04 and 05. I think 05 especially I loved. Like that was the Acclaim. I think they did that. Of course, MLB The Show, but you threw in Slugfest in there. It's so a triple play. Triple play.
Wow.
I played all of these. Yeah, I played all of these, bro. Like there's so many of these baseball games. And I guess the thought process I always go through is I'm like, okay, development's more expensive now. You make another baseball game to compete with, say, MLB The Show. What's the benefit?
True,
right?
True.
Like and that's why I think we get those, like, it's funny because this is 2K as well. NBA playgrounds where it's like, we'll bring back that NBA Street vibe, which I would love to see. That series should come back.
Yes.
NBA Street, man, like that. You want to talk about the truth?
Yes.
NBA Street V3.
Yes.
I still go back to that game.
Yeah.
Especially the GameCube version where you could play as Mario and do the tricks in the air, the game breakers. Come on, dude. So good. The Street series was, and it's funny, that was EA.
Yeah.
But like that was so good. So I miss that mixed bag,
Yeah. We had a plethora. Remember, we're from the NBA Jam. He's heating up. He's fine.
NBA Jam.
Like, I thought, what was it, Playground? I thought they was going to try to take it, and I don't know. Saber was messing with that, and I liked it, but it's just like that they just went away from it. I don't know, man. It just seems like everyone is either terrified to compete with the Juggernaut, and then it has to be in conjunction with paying for that license.
It's got to be, because no one cares if the players aren't there, which makes sense. I do the same way. Like, I don't play these games to play as Joe Schmo. Like, the only series that gets away with that is like backyard baseball.
Yeah.
That's
it. I just finished watching the Acclaim thing, and they had a basketball game, and I'm like, no players.
Oh, they really?
Yeah, it was like a very very old school, double dribble looking NES inspired. It literally looked like old school double dribble for the NES. But I'm like, okay, they're going for this retro feel. But I'm like, all right, I like some of the aspect, but then I sound like it's, you know, when it's bad, when it just be like Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Detroit, where you just see the city name, and I'm just like, nah.
A little too old school. Little too old school.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't go back to those days, bro.
No, pixel art is a beautiful, wonderful art style, but for sports games, bro, if you ain't 3D, if I don't see polygons, I'm out, bro. You can't be doing that. Yeah,
and they try to do the double jump. You know, when you go to the rim, and they try to do the little cinematic, and I was like, I get it, you know, for all the 50-year-old plus guys. I know, you know, hey, I get that, but nah, that ain't going. Not in our year of our Lord 2025.
I am right there with you.
Yeah.
2 more bits of news here. Next up, for those who are interested in VR games, here's a good one for you: Batman Arkham Shadow. And guess what? It's getting a sequel. Insider Gaming writes, spotted by Upload VR, the voice actor for Commissioner Gordon confirmed Batman Arkham Shadow sequel during an interview with Culture Combined. Mark Rolston is the actor for Gordon in Batman Arkham Shadow, and they list a bunch of his other roles. During the interview, Rolston was asked about how it is different working on games like Blade Runner and Spider-Man 2. He revealed that with Blade Runner, he was only doing voiceover, whereas Spider-Man, he had to do complete motion capture, voice, and everything. And then he added the same for Batman Arkham Shadow's VR game, revealing that, quote, they're about to start another one of those, end quote. So, yeah, a little more Batman Arkham Shadow on the way, which is exciting. I remember, it's so funny. One thing that always resonates with me, I haven't finished this game yet, but what always resonates with me is when I talk to Jake about it. And Jake said it made him cry. I think that's the funniest thing of all time. Of just how into it he got, but it definitely resonated with me because, like, I know he's a whole on comic book nerd like myself, and so Batman Arkham Shadow apparently is really, really good, and I want to get around to finishing it. But getting a sequel is awesome to see. So, your thoughts, Lord VR, on the Arkham Shadow sequel?
Bro, I love it.
We're gonna bust out the Xbox edition for this one.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
I've been playing VR a lot lately. Ever since I must admit, since I got the Quest VR, I've been playing a lot at the Xbox Meta Quest, and obviously, you know, my favorite.
Yeah.
That, let me tell you, if you like superheroes, first of all, did y'all see the Deadpool game?
I think it looks great. Some people were trying to hate on the voice work. I was like, I'm not there. I don't see the problem. But like, it's fun as hell.
I'm not hating it, but that, let me tell you, Batman is ridiculous, right? Don't sleep on Iron Man. Iron Man VR with the nerve to have a narrative and a good story and good voice acting. And, bro, it is something, I'm telling you, they make you feel like, bro, I challenge you, pick up Iron Man VR on the MetaQuest, y'all. I'm telling you that joy. And it was a port. It was I believe it was originally,
I think it was PS
VR at one point, and now it's everywhere. Now it's on, bro. And they obviously they upped the graphical fidelity and all that system.
Oh, yeah, it's funny. Guess who developed that?
Who?
The same team that developed Arkham Shadow.
Oh, I didn't even.
Bro, I was like,
it makes sense.
They did both. Yeah, they did both.
It makes sense.
They did Iron Man VR. They did Arkham Shadow.
Yeah. Now here's a heartbreaker though. There was, remember how we went through a memory lane with like Marvel Heroes being shut down?
Yeah.
For Marvel Heroes Omega, that used to be a there was like a Marvel, like Avengers style VR game that got shut down. That was actually amazing. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to get the name for it. I never played. A couple of people showed me it. And I was just like, yo, this looks sick. And people were like, yeah, I don't know, some controversy with the studio. Let me see if I can find the name for it, though. But this Marvel VR game will let you play. Damn, what was the name of it? Is it Avengers Assemble? What was the name of it? Marvel? Yeah, Marvel Powers United. It was shut down 3 years ago. And I'm gonna say, and this is my man BMF VR. This guy's great chat. If you want to know about VR, let me send you the link right quick. He's a high. When I remember working with Quest, he was one of the content creators that would always come up in meetings and stuff, like really good representative for VR.
Yeah.
And Quest would work with him a lot. Yeah, you got to watch when you get your shot. Watch that video. Yeah, Marvel VR. This is heartbroken that this game got shut down. You played it.
Whoa.
Bro, it was sick. You had all the Avengers, and it played amazing. I'm telling you, bro.
Was this like a full release, or
it was a full release? And then I guess it was for the initial quest, and then it
like a live service thing? Is that why it's gone?
No. It was not live service and stuff like it was. Bro, they need to bring it back. I think it was for the original quest, and then I don't know what happened.
United.
Yeah, Marvel Powers United. When it comes to superhero games in VR, it really resonates.
Oh, it's like now available on Rift.
Yeah. That's what it was. I think they could. Bro, it's sick. But yeah.
Survival Project was shut down by Meta.
Yeah. That would hurt. But in the meantime, if you can't do that, get on that Iron Man, yo.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most fun experiences you'll have. But yeah, Batman or sequel, let's go. Let's go.
Yes, sir. All right, last bit of news before we get into what we're playing. IO Interactive finally talks about the Mindseye launch. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this was their first time publishing a game, and it was Mindseye. And so CEO Hakan Abrak touched a bit on what had happened there with the launch of Mindseye, and they said, quote, "It was a tough reception. It wasn't what they hoped for, and also what we didn't hope for at IOI Partners. They're working hard on turning around to regain the trust of gamers out there, and they have a ton of potential and content they're working on, so hopefully they'll succeed with that in the future. So IO Interactive will publish our own games internally. IOI Partners, that remains to be seen," end quote. And yeah, kudos to Mindseye. They released, I think, a 4th or 5th update recently. They have been releasing more and more stuff for it. The last thing here we got, I'm looking at Pure Xbox. Mindseye Update 4, now live on Xbox, includes multiple performance upgrades, a range of UX improvements, numerous performance enhancements, squash loads of bugs. So yeah, they are chugging away to try to improve this game. They are hanging with it. I don't think like I said in my review, there's no fucking way you can save this story unless they redo it completely. There's no way you can save it. But when it comes to the actual core experience, they're trying their best. They're hanging with it, and I'm surprised because I was like, I thought they get shut down immediately because I'm like, who's buying this to kind of like warrant all of the updates? But maybe they're hoping it's a Cyberpunk situation. Nonetheless, COG, IO Interactive, maybe out on the publishing business. Your thoughts? Do you blame them?
Bro, the way your man was talking was like, that sounded like a one and done situation. Like he didn't like that the IO name was sullied.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sucks. I remember we was out there for Summer Game Fest. There was an IO event. They had the Bond game that was showed first, right? And we're like, okay, cool. And I remember them showing it, and they definitely weren't confident for us to go hands on anything. And that was something that we were like, you're letting us do everything else except see that. So we kind of thought, well, maybe that is coming in kind of hot. Yeah. And it sucks because we thought the potential was there, right? We saw some glimpses of potentially a GTA clone with, them trying to tackle it. But I've never seen a game to get that level of reception. And obviously, I saw Gene's stuff, I saw your stuff, and just like, yeah, I'm good. But to see IO be like, as a result of this, we ain't messing with outside dudes. No, dudes outside the circle too much, as a result. Yeah, that's interesting to see him talk about it and mention, the relationships as far as IO partners in that fashion.
Yeah, I don't blame them, especially you have a great brand, like great brand image. Yeah. You make incredible video games. Hitman 1, 2, 3, all amazing. 007 looks really good.
Looks good.
You tried the publishing business. It's a whole different beast from the developer business and even self-publishing your own work. So yeah, like it might have been just a real, like, getting in above your ears on something that maybe you're not built to do. But at the same time, I could see a world where it's like, why don't we do this? It's right. Leslie Benzies, and we're going to make the next GTA. And no one's really trying to compete with GTA. If there's one good thing Mindseye did, it was aiming to... it's going to de-incentivize a lot more people now, unfortunately, but aiming to compete with GTA, which I don't get what happened. We talked about sports, but to me, I don't know what happened with, like, remember we got True Crime, we got Saints Row, Dogs. The list goes on of like games that were going toe to toe with GTA. GTA was always a behemoth, but like going toe to toe with it, or releasing around it, or in its pockets, and developing fan bases and doing really well. And they were awesome games. I don't know I don't know what exactly happened where we just can't get those types of games anymore. I know they're tough to make, but it seems like everything's difficult to make. So why not? So to Mindseye credit, the only thing I will give it praise for is that it tried to go after something that is typically not touched at all, which was frequently done. So
no, good point. Good point. You try to go for the champ. And listen, I can't knock IO for taking the shot. Like, because if IO, like, if they land it, we'll have one of those underneath our banner. We'll have it could have went, right? So I get what it is, but like, nah, they want some no new friends. We publish ourselves.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
All right, enough news for now, Cog. It's time to get into what games we are playing, and we have a nice little dish here.
Yeah.
With you, because you're playing one in particular that I'm holding myself back from, but I really want to see what it's cooking here. Cog, Indiana Jones, tell me about it.
So before we get to Indiana Jones, I do have full disclosure. It was supposed to be Shinobi back on this list again with the 100% thing, but then I realized what else I had to do. And it was like, you got to play in arcade mode when you unlock arcade mode. And try to go through the levels without being hit. I'm like, yo.
We got to talk about that. Yeah, you got to talk about
this game. I can do it, but it's going to take time. So my 100% dreams and expectations got put on hold for a little bit. And
isn't that the worst feeling? Like for me, it's when I'm going to go for a platinum. I'm like, I'm totally going to do it. And you see like that one trophy where you go, that's like 20 hours of my life. That's straight just going to get flushed. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And that's why I'm like, and this just sucks because I could at least attempt it if it was play anywhere and I had it on the go and I could knock a level at a time when I'm moving around. But like, now it's like, I'll get back to it, but it's just like that put a damper on things. So then I'm like, what I'm going to play now? So it's like, all right, we got, obviously big Hollow Knights outside. There's a couple other games outside. And, obviously, is coming this week. Borderlands. I'm like, all right. And I'm like, wait a minute. It was shout out to my man Red. I haven't talked to Red in a minute. So Red, we building. He's like, yeah, about to get into that new Indiana Jones deal. I'm like, yo, the DLC came out? I didn't even know. So I was like, so Order of Giants, I believe, is the name of it. Yeah, Order of Giants. So I'm like, all right, let me get to it. And first thing off the bat, like, man, I missed this game. Like, I remember how much I loved it when we first played it, but going back into it, so they send you back, go back to the Vatican, right? And I believe you have to have a certain level of story progression and a certain mission unlocked before you reach up to this, like, kind of this NPC guy. And, he's, religious figure, and he's telling you about things that he's hearing, these rumors, and the black shirts doing really shady things, and there's stuff going on in the underbelly, also involving another, I forgot the man name, the Shiesty father such and such. Yeah. Remember Shiesty father that was down with Mussolini and them? And so I was like, all right, cool. So we set it up. So you start off some light traversal, you get include. And the thing I realized right off the back, man, these puzzles are so amazing.
Yeah.
Like it truly challenges you in a way where I feel like now I can only do physical puzzles now. Yeah. Like I think that's the way to do it. So bro, they had this snake fountain one that was pretty dope, and I had to redirect water, do a certain thing. And what's happening is at first I'm like, okay, I'm going to be in the Vatican, and that's pretty much it. But as you keep going further, you still get more of this mystery of what's really happening. It's basically this underground circle kind of worshiping and wanting this order to come back or something of it. And basically they like Order of Tall Giants, and it's kind of like what's the thing, like Last Crusade kind of energy. But all in all, new enemy type that get busy. Little red, they get hard. You know what I'm saying? You got that. You got the puzzles, but then we go to a new area. We leave the Vatican and we going into Rome. And we're going into the catacombs of Rome. Bro, the set pieces are sick already. I would say less cinematics than I would have liked. I felt like the base game had more. You do have them, but I felt like the base game was just loaded with them. So, but this is really cool. And man, I will say, There is one puzzle. I think I'm towards the end. I am one puzzle that is breaking me right now.
Oh, no.
I can't, and I don't want to be weak and look it up. Like, it's a 4-part part.
That was me during Hell Is Us. They were like, we have 100% walkthrough if you ever need. I was like, no, I got this. I'm smart,
this, bro. And whoever's doing the joint where it'd be like, first the crusade, he went here and he traveled there, and they got the steps of this famous journey, and they're doing it through representation of tablets on the ground. Actually, before that, there's this dope one. I gotta tell you, there's one puzzle that's super dope. There's this like statue in the middle, and then like you have these other 4. One has like a shield with a bear, another one has a shield with a tiger, and you gotta figure out the sequence of what order these things are supposed to do. Then when you hit the main statue, this ball rolls out, and you gotta redirect the traffic of this ball. And you only have a limited amount of almost like Lego-like pieces to redirect. Think of it like a train track, right? A system of train tracks where a ball goes down these train tracks and you got to redirect it, but you only got limited pieces. Some are straight, some are curved, and you got to get it to the sequence. It has to go into the statues in a specific sequence. Bro, you running all over the. Oh, it's gonna go there. I gotta put that piece down. I need a straight piece. Okay, bro, it is so much fun. I'm like, yo. This game is fine. Then the sneaking again, grabbing guys up from behind, saying, knocking them out, doing that joint, what I'm saying? Like the weapons, the what you call it, the makeshift improvised weapon system of Indiana Jones. It just it's okay. They go a broomstick. All right, cool. Like, it's what you know, because they keep it real. And then when he jumps in the water, you lose that stuff. So it's a level of reality. You got a couple of more. Oh, mysteries are back. They got new mysteries. When the ones where they don't hold your head, because the main story quest puzzles. Usually, you take the picture and then it'll give you a hint. Okay, if you do this, it looks like, Indy will talk himself through it, right? But the mysteries are the ones where they ain't no talking through. There was this one, bro, that they shiesty. For whoever did that wine making picture puzzle, bro, I was out here researching how to make wine. I'm like, so is the fermenting before the and they got bro, it's sick. I was like, I love this game. Like this game makes you think outside the box. So I would say it's about not like 5 to 6 hours. I know I'm close to the end. 5 to 6 hours of it, and it's gonna your playing time length will depend on how quickly you can get through some of these. Well, some of them are going to break. I was proud of myself on 2, but this last one, we'll see how far I get before. But yeah,
I like that you're saying it's interweaved with like the main game. It sounds like it's not just like this additive whatever that you like start from the main menu. It's more like not like the main story is going to mention it, but that you get to a certain point in the main story, you can go investigate this thing.
Yes, that's what it feels like. Now I will say, obviously I'm very strong because of all my all the stuff that I've got from the main quest. So I will say I have an advantage because I have so much stamina and so much, because I can tell these enemy types are meant to really rock you. You know what I'm saying? And they sneaky. They be in the cut. You'll see them ahead of you. They'll see you. They'll try to loop. They'll flake. Yeah. They got different little behaviors. And they look cool. They like red robed. They got the dark, like they look like they down with this evil cult kind of energy. Like, bro, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. So shout out to, I am loving it, man. I was, again, we were talking earlier, which I was just like, I don't know if MachineGames is going to be able to get away from this, man.
Yeah, like, they found their calling,
Lucas is going to want more Disney. We'll see if Todd, how they feel, whatever. But I any excuse to go back to this game was perfect. So this is right on time. So Indiana Jones is a great story. I'm doing that. Then the other one I want to give shout out. I know we were talking about, obviously Hollow Knight and the impact it had. And I felt so bad, man. Shout out to Atari. I believe the company name is Ilex Games. They're a little Brazilian studio. And I want to shout out our homeboy, Jason, Flash and Atari. They invited us out there to check and look at this when we were checking out. I believe we were checking out Bubsy and all that stuff. And this was the game that had my attention. It's called Adventure of Samsara. So at first when you look at it, you're going to be like, oh, This is some old school Atari game that, and for full disclosure, I am not an Atari kid. I grew up in that era. My mom's like, you ain't getting no console. You ain't getting nothing. Like my mom's was JW. She was no about no toy, no video game, no birthday. It was my dad who got me ColecoVision. So I'm more of a Coleco kid. But, anyway, this is based on a popular, franchise that is being reimagined, right? Adventure of Some Sorrow. Shout out to Sov and King. They know this game. They played it. So I had no connection, right? All I know is that this game is coming back. It's going to be a Metroidvania. Unfortunately, dropping the same week as Hollow Knight.
Same day, I'm looking.
Same day as Hollow Knight. Shout out to Alex Gay. They put out a tweet. And they were like, hey, Team Cherry Games, noticed you dropped a Metroidvania like us too. Hey, let's do a bundle together. And I thought that was cool. Like they want to kind of do like the Rage Bound.
Yeah.
But so I start off this game.
Like, concurrent players?
I know. It's not. That's why I want to give it some love. Here's the thing. Bro, I came into this game like, this don't look like it's going to be for me. This look like some old retro. So I said, look, Sav, I'll play a couple hours. We'll see how it go. Bro, this game is actually addicting as hell. So it's fair. So basically it's like you're this knight, right? So it's a bit of medieval and then it's a bit of futuristic at the same time. So he's thrust in this time period. You're starting to figure things out. You start to get your ability. Now, the key with it, it's a very weighty game. Like the way the character has, almost like Souls-like. Everything is slow. He can parry, but he could jump. He can platform. And when he platforms, he hangs on stuff. He lets go. Everything has a weight to it. And there's a slight, my only complaint, there is a slight delay sometimes with certain input movements. But I will say it is very satisfying when you beat enemies and when you fight these bosses. These bosses are fire. Now, where it gets super dope, you got inventory, you got elemental attack. There's this thing that I got it's like almost like this ghost-like thing that you get, and you use the right analog, and then it can kind of like burn things around you. You start opening up the ability tree. Obviously, you see places that you could go and come back to. It's a very cog game in this sense. I like my very esoteric, non-hand-holdy, throw you in a very ambient kind of world. Like it reminds me of games like Out of This World. It reminds me of games where the game's not holding your hand and you just kind of got to figure out. Bro, I'm like, it went from, I'm just going to play this for an hour. Like, I'm just kind of feeling this joy. Like, I ain't going to hold you. Adventures of Sorrow surprised me. I did not expect to like this game the way I was liking it. It's a vibe, yo. I would if you're a Metroidvania fan, look, I get it. Hollow Knight's out, it's moving out here. We know what time it is. But if you're a Metroidvania fan that likes a little bit of Souls, that likes a little bit of esoteric and a lot of abilities, yo, it's a vibe. I really enjoyed my joint. Now, obviously, they have the Souls like when you go to a save point, you choose to rest, enemies respawn. You got that kind of thing. But the abilities you get, really cool stuff. I started getting this like force push type stuff. Yeah, man. Like I just feel bad because it's like, they're not getting the shine at all launching on the same week as Hollow Knight. But I think it's worth, if you're a Metro fan, I think it's worth, if you're a Metro fan and a Souls fan, I think it's worth giving this joint a shot. So shout out to Adventures. So I really did enjoy my time with it.
Okay, I'm glad that's at least delivering. It's a shame what's happening there, but I know as we talked about earlier, it's
that's why I said like the proximity. If you're an indie with big Hollow Knight outside, so you got that, and then obviously my comfort food game, Demio, still been rocking. I'm on Dungeon 3 now. My whole goal is to solo every adventure / dungeon that the game has. Right, so I did the first two. The Rat King, and now I'm up to the Roots of Evil. And man, this is very difficult. So I changed my party composition. I've been playing with my number one character is the Guardian, who is a very defensive knight, shield kind of tanky character. But now I'm playing with the Barbarian. I never played with the Barbarian, and I wanted to see the Barbarian is a very, very powerful DPS character with movement. You can use the grappling hook to traverse across the map very fast. And what I like is you can grab up environmental hazards, store them, and then throw them back at the enemy. So now I'm changing my composition with that. And I just addicted. It's like,
this is your game.
This is my go to bed game Let me do a quick dungeon or two, get the team together. And again, I'm loving it actually doing solo. Shout out to my man, just Russo. He hit me up. We're going to play. But I still love it. So basically, once I get that out, and then I'm trying to get ready for whatever they do for Battle Mark. But this will be Dungeon 3. They got 2 more. I think it's the Mad King, and there's one more other one. But this third one is, Roots of Evil was tough. So we'll see how that go. But yeah, dungeon a day or a week kind of thing is how I'm doing with Demio. So those are my 3. What you been playing?
All right. Well, I just I apologize for looking at my phone while you were talking, but I just got put on alert that
what's going on?
Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra has come out just yesterday, and it is a Dragon Ball MOBA.
Okay.
I did not realize, so I've added it to my Steam library, so I apologize if it looked like I was not.
No, you got to do that. You got to get that done.
I just was like, I got that. I was like, oh, word? All right, hold up. Like,
I feel that. Breaking news.
Yeah. So, all right. Tonight's plan set. Okay, so for me, what I've been playing, let's start with the write-in. Naked Snake in a Banana Hammock. Right in. Great name. Actually, funny enough, relevant to both games I'm playing this week.
Okay.
Hey, Dukes. Wanted to get your take on Bloober Team's Chronos the New Dawn. As of writing this, I'm about 8 hours in and I'm adoring my time. Do you think Bloober's problem was the walking simulator type horror and that they found their footing with third-person action survival horror? Thanks, guys. Keep it up as always. Such is our calling. Yes. Love that little final note here from Naked Snake. Now, I finished Chronos the New Dawn. It took me about 20 hours. The in-game clock, because they score you at the end of the game, was 14 hours, 50 minutes, something like that. But I don't idle in my games for very long stretches of time at all. Maybe 20 minutes tops if I know, because I love the accurate clock and I don't want to take any risks. So if I know that's going to be at risk, you need me to help taking the groceries and we're going to have a conversation. Okay. Yeah, I'm shutting off my game.
So bad about that. I'm a quick resume guy and I'll leave it on. Yeah,
so you'll be like, I've got 300 hours.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I hate that. It's fraudulent.
I'm like, it's fraudulent. I'm like, Con, you didn't do that.
Yeah. It looks good when people check out the stats.
Yeah.
But then, because the worst, bro, is I catch my friends frauding. I have one friend who leaves his shit on constantly. Yeah, I got 150 hours now. Look, bro, it's got 3 achievements. I'm like, you don't got 150. Who are you fucking fooling, dude?
The call out.
Yeah. I was like, bro, put your shit on private. Chronos the New Dawn, though. Finished it. Took me somewhere between 15, 20 hours. Bro, they did it. They did it. Yeah, Bloober did it, man. They did it. I said, I was kind of hinging a lot of my final take on obviously how the gameplay progresses, but the story, but that was the big one. But man, I got to say, this is a real love letter to survival horror. If you can think of a survival horror game that you love, they've found a way to naturally fit that in here. And I know some people may say, well, it fails to establish an identity of its own then, but I'm like, I don't really get that vibe because it's the characters in this world and this time oddity driven storyline that feels very unique. So I mentioned last week, I see a little Parasite Eve in this game because it's Christmas time in this game. I definitely see Resident Evil. I 1,000% see Evil Within. I see Dead Space with the stomping and how that progresses in the game, and also kind of the way your character holds the weapon and walks around. I see a little bit of that. But as you get deeper in the game, Bloober's notoriously, and they remade Silent Hill 2, but they're notoriously huge Silent Hill fans. It took me a little bit. I was like, I'm surprised I see no Silent Hill here. You have the moody environments, but I'm like, that's not really something you attribute exclusively to Silent Hill. Then I started to pay attention to the suite of locations you go to in this game. It felt like a little tour of remember the hospital in Silent Hill 2? Remember the church in Silent Hill 3? Once I put that together, I went, man, this game's fucking smart if you look at it from the angle of a bunch of survival horror fans making their kind of love letter to that genre. And especially I'm not trying to get into the timing of it all because I'll talk about what the game actually does that'll matter in a more evergreen way. But when you really look at how they do the Silent Hill 2 remake and they do it just right, they bring justice to it. They deliver above expectations. Okay, what can you do on your own? And it feels like this is their statement of thank you to all of you who inspired us for getting us to this point. Because look, man, I was there. Look at my Medium review. I remember. You would not find a bigger hater of Bloober Team than myself. You'll find episodes of Carrick and I when Cog, I'm crossing up your name so much here.
Very good.
You'll find episodes of Carrick and I in early days of DD hating on the medium, hating on Bloober Team, being like, dude, like, get them the fuck out of here. Like, every game can stay except them. Like, we had like a real strong dislike of them. Because for me, I was fed up. I was like, bro, y'all love to walk and talk, but you even like in the medium, like you barely talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing with these games? What is the point? And so,
to me, finally, more of a tech demo in terms of like having two versions of
especially
something.
When Xbox needed exclusives. Like, that was the one part where timing was against them, where I went, if you guys got to be in this company and like this, just no, you can't be doing this, right? So, like a huge hater of them, man. But like Silent Hill 2 Remake, I went, you did my baby right. I can't say it's my baby. I'm a new fan of Silent Hill, but man, I adore that game. You did it right. But Chronos was one I was like, this is really the true improvement moment. And I think they did it. I think the story thematically is very familiar. That stayed the same. But when it starts to evolve and goes down its own kind of rabbit hole, it's a little bit tough to keep up with. It is a little all over the place. But to me, that's survival horror. And I love figuring out the brain salad of survival horror games, because it's the one place you can get very weird, very psychological with games where enemies are glitching and teleporting all over the place and physics are being defied, yet it all still makes sense. I love that about this genre so much. And I think this game takes real big advantage of that. It kind of, especially with multiple endings, it demands like a reassessment. It took a lot of willpower to move on to my next game instead of doing the New Game Plus that they gave me. I mean, it's the complete package, man. New Game Plus in survival horror is like the shit, bro. Because now you got all your weapons, all your upgrades, you got all your skills.
Good.
You're like, all right, who wants to mess now? Like, I know where the jump scares are.
Yes.
But man, just they hit all the features they needed to. But the story, I think, does shape up in a way where once you get where it's going, and the ending I got was like pretty sad. I saw a couple endings, but the one I kind of settled with, like, that's my ending that I'll be thinking about. Very interesting. And I'm using very generic descriptors here because I don't want to say too much beyond that. But yeah, just a really impressive effort, man. And I will say the final fight, fucking great. Like they nailed it. Like it's a lot of survival horror games go for, here's the big behemoth monster. Oh, this game does something a little scaled down and personal, and it is still way more intense than any giant monster boss fight you can imagine. And it's
like that.
Really good. Like I said, the story, and I'd say the 75% mark, I'm not going to lie to y'all, it's very Evil Within in that it gets a little bit tough to keep up with. Like, I had those moments where I went, I don't know what's really happening here. But once you start to simplify it a little bit, break down the broad pieces, and then look at the kind of more confusing areas, I think it puts itself together nicely. But look, man, performance aside, which I will say some of my performance woes still existed, but definitely got better.
Okay. I
had like 2 hitches. When I was reviewing this game, the hitches were crazy. I would say do your Digital Foundry research, like check out consoles are doing, check out PCs doing. But look, if you like survival horror, if you like atmosphere, great music that builds that atmosphere. And by the way, on that note, a absolute looker. Look, man, this game is unbelievable at times with the way it uses like fog and its lack of lighting and its draw distance, and that the scale isn't just spectacle, but like it's something you explore and get to lay your hands on. If you like secrets that you get to explore, not just in like narrative endings, but like environmental, like I'm going to burn down this wall here and there's like all this loot I'm looking for. If you like finding, a currency that upgrades your weapons. If you like ass clenching combat that every single shot, no exaggeration, counts, you will be down to 0 after most encounters. If you like that intensity, Chronos made like a hit in my opinion, man. Like I'm not going to lie, this got to be in my top 5 right now. Like this delivered on everything, and it's a feeling I've chased for a while. I've played a lot of great survival horror since The Evil Within, which is like one of those moments I marked in my brain. Like that game's important to me because I went, I really love this genre. I do. Like it's special when it hits. But The Evil Within had a perfect type of intensity and methodical movement and very deliberate shooting where you weren't a superhero. Even like in Dead Space, especially the remake, I mean, it feels incredible. Like you're fluid, you stomp really fast, you kind of get around, you switch your weapons quickly. This game has a good it's tough to get down, I imagine, but it's a good type of sluggishness where when you're moving, like, bro, when you see an orphan closing in on you, you're like, I gotta get going, bro. Like it's like that lack of movement. Like a lot of people are gonna say you should probably flip the movement schemes with Silent Hill 2 and this game. Because in Silent Hill 2, I don't know where James became such a gangster, where this bro's like ducking and weaving, and like this man who's supposed to, by the way, in Silent Hill, like you play as very normal people. Like I am John, I work in real estate, I've done this for 20 years. Like that's your Silent Hill protagonist.
That's Silent Hill protagonist.
James went to some type of combat class at some point in the story because this broken move. So I think it's a fair argument that you might want to flip the protagonist movesets, but in respect to the game's design and the intensity it's going for, the lack of movement options is really good here. Like it really creates not a fake sense of intensity because it's very grounded. It's very believable. It again just really like there's no fight where you're like, all right, whatever. Like it's always like, even when it's the cannon fodder enemies, it's like surprise 3. Like you can, if you line them up, you can take them all out in one shot, but still like you got to be careful. Everything's a force to be reckoned with. So if anything I'm saying sounds good to you, really, y'all, you got to put it on your playlist. I know it's not what anyone wants to hear with so much coming out, but I'm saying this, by the way, so I was a little bit like, I was looking forward to Chronos, but there was a brief moment I went, do I want to do it because I know Silent Hill F is my game this month? Like that and Borderlands 4, I'm like, those are my games. So Silent Hill F especially, bro.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
Looks so cool. I mean, look, man, I am so happy I played this one. And it is so good. I went, okay, Silent Hill F, your turn. Like, let's see what you've got now. And what's great is these two, if you're like me and you love survival horror, I think these two can coexist because one's a very 80s synthy sci-fi horror. And of course, Silent Hill F is Japanese horror, which is a completely different breed of it. So I love the game, man. I really highly recommend Chronos: The New Dawn, and I'm glad I was very positive in my impressions of the game. It wasn't like my thoughts changed or evolved so dramatically that I felt I needed to do like a re-review of it because all I said stays true. Like it's great, it just runs poorly. But I really, really liked Chronos: The New Dawn. I got to say, I was very impressed by what Bloober brought to the table. And hey, man, whatever they're on the list now, as in like. After Silent Hill 2 remake and this game, and by the way, those games releasing in a year span, whatever they do, let's see what you got. I'm interested now. Like they got a fan in me, is what I would say.
That's big.
And that's a huge hater of them. That's huge.
You've come full circle. Like I remember, bro.
Yeah, y'all call me a hater sometimes, but don't say when a company does the right shit that I don't come around.
Facts.
Don't say I don't come around. I'm just very firm. But Chronos: The New Dawn, man, like it. To me, it's a little bit more of a championship title win than Silent Hill 2 Remake. Because here's the thing. Last thought. Silent Hill 2 Remake, you give them the blueprint. They dramatically changed the game in more ways than I would have ever imagined and did an amazing job where that got me interested in Chronos because I went, well, they made creative decisions. One of my favorite stories ever, and they did right by it. Like they knew what to do. But Chronos is like, there's no blueprint. This is our thing. A new IP, mind you. And if you're looking to support new IP that are survival horror, and I think Bloober Team, I'm not saying like they're the next Resident Evil, got a long way to go to get there, but like look out, man. Like we haven't really seen a competitor like that was what Tango was.
Yeah,
like we had Tango as the sort of like who's gonna fight against Capcom a little bit in this space. But it looks like it's Bloober now because you have a lot of indie survival horror. There's plenty of examples. Crow's Country is one of them. Like there's a lot of great indie survival horror games. But when it comes to like the big dogs, unless I'm forgetting one off the top of my head, but it's really Bloober Team right now standing up against Capcom. And that's Capcom's like great competition right there. Capcom's firing all cylinders. Now it looks like Bloober Team is. So whatever they do next, really excited to see what it is. And to the write-in from Naked Snake, I do think they found their pocket with gameplay. I think they heard the criticism that like, look, y'all need to like because the thing is that at least I could feel in most of their early games, they were fighting with themselves. Like we need to, we don't have gameplay. We need to find something to do. And it was like their games were really boring. I think, especially if you can make combat this competent, you need to be making third-person action games. I hope they make first-person survival games and horror games. Like, I'm really interested to see what they do next because I think they have a ton of potential. And I love that they're in the prove it mindset because they feel hungry. This game felt hungry to prove something. And I think if y'all are like me, you've played survival horror for like a good chunk of your life, a lot of the recent hits especially, you can feel that in this game. And I think it's very special. I've never really seen something quite like it where it pulls all those elements in, but not in such a way where I went, oh, it's just a Blender game. Like people have heard that description from me before.
Yeah.
This is more than that. So excellent job, Bloober team. Really loving it.
Okay.
All right, next up here.
What we got?
So Borderlands 4 is up next in the terms of the big one. I'm still flirting around with a couple other games, but I found this franchise that's become so bingeable, Cog. I played this one entry. It feels like my entire understanding of what once was has been flipped on its head. And that was Metal Gear Solid 1.
The enlightening.
I did have the enlightening. I had the Kojima understanding moment. And right away I went, I got to play MGS2. Now, for those who don't know, MGS2 was always my favorite, right? But I got to be honest, after playing the first one, I was like, on what grounds do I stand on to say that anymore? And especially I have like 6 hours in it now. I'm like, especially now, what grounds do I have to say this about? Like, I don't know how I got through this. I didn't probably understand it. I just remember, we'll just say the iconic scene in this game, and that resonated so much with me that that's what you carry with you. But the game as a whole is so different now, having MGS1 context, which obviously, but funny story here. I've talked about this on Retro Rebound a lot. My audience and I joke a lot. I've, growing up and even into my young adulthood, play games really weird. And I think some of the audience, I've been ridiculed about that sometimes. Like, man, he's just so fucking weird. Some people use it to detract, but I do love having the awakening moment. And I sound oblivious when I say it, but like, yeah, bro, like I started with the second entry in the series, and I blame Kingdom Hearts because I played KH2 and I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but this is great. And going back to Kingdom Hearts 1 when I was younger and then playing it as an adult, I'm like, this doesn't fucking matter. I was like, this is like, there's no foundation to this series, in my opinion. Right. Like, it's so bottomless, and in a good way, by the way. I say that with love. So I think that just changed my understanding of just like, I can start wherever.
I can start where I want. Yeah.
And so many games nowadays are like, you don't need to play the old ones. You're fine. But then Toshihiro Kondo, right? This is a whole huge broad story. Right. Kondo, the man responsible for my beloved Trails series.
Trails.
I see him outside getting into his marketing bag, and I see him talking about like Trails Through Daybreak 2, a sequel within a series that's like 10 plus entries deep, going, yeah, you could start here. You're fine, start here. I'm like, no. Okay, so y'all are lying. And I would need to play these earlier entries. But also my audience saying, man, you should try this, you should try that. There's so much that I'm sure you have this too. You hit a certain age where you're a little more wiser. Everything from your childhood becomes appealing in a new way of like, can I understand it in a new way?
In a new way,
If I were to equate it to anything, I'll pull an obscure one out here. I'll think of SpongeBob. SpongeBob as a kid was hilarious because it's like goofy watching SpongeBob and Patrick do these silly little things, like hitting each other with like rocks and whatnot. But then you watch SpongeBob as an adult, the early seasons of SpongeBob, and you start to hear the mature nods and tongue-in-cheek humor of like, oh, that was a sex joke. I was like, oh, it's brilliant. Yes. And that sort of ability to revise a cycle that I already experienced is deeply captivating to me. It's almost like something I could be a prisoner of a time loop of my own, where it's like, I'm going to go back and play everything I played as a kid and just never play anything new again. So I'm trying to resist that part of myself. But I say this whole journey to say that I wanted to play Metal Gear Solid 2 after Metal Gear Solid 1.
Okay.
I've played 6 hours of it. I've, for those who are wondering where I'm at, just beat Fat Man. So probably by tonight, even this game will be done. Interesting time here. No, still love it. Like MGS2 is very atmospheric. This soundtrack,
it's a vibe.
Oh my God, dude.
It's a vibe.
I did not remember that this soundtrack did not play. Same thing with the first game, but the first game was surprisingly atmospheric. I wasn't ready for that. Now I'm ready for it. This game, though, I'm like kind of vibing with it more. When I say it's an interesting time, my critique of MGS2 right now is it's very laney hallway-ish, which makes sense for the plant that you're on, even like the tanker section.
The tanker,
yeah. Yeah, like it's just a lot of straight lines. And it's weird because MGS1 was very open, very player expression, creativity. And this game has it like, flip over the railing, shimmy along.
Mm-hmm.
But because there's so many quick hallways into rooms, like stealth kind of matters a little bit less because I'll just like pop a dude and be like, hey, Bravo team, chime back in. And I just run into the next loading screen and nothing happens. Like kind of a prisoner of its time period. Yeah. So, it feels a little, I would say this, MGS1 to me did not feel very old. In some ways. In other ways it did, but MGS2 feels a little old.
Gotcha.
But the presentation, the music,
the
story, I mean, just unbelievable for its time. It's aged so well. But I've been having a good time with it, man. This is I gotta say, I love going on these journeys because it just kind of calls you. You don't call it. So I didn't know this year I'd end up on this kind of Kojima journey. Like I just want to finish Death Stranding 1 before 2. Then I dove into 2 a little bit and I was like, this is great. But then I just had that hankering. I got to think Last Defense Academy. Last Defense Academy absorbs a month of my life.
Oh yeah.
Just playing it straight up.
That.
And I'm like, I need to beat things. I need to feel that emotion of credits rolling.
Yes.
Just thinking about the story, like I need to get that in my system. So I did. This was one of the games that I went, oh, like Delta's coming out soon. I knew I wanted to do something for it on Retro Rebound. I was like, I don't know if people would care about my take on Metal Gear. Am I doing this for the video? Am I doing this for my interest? I'm like, no, I want to like play this for myself. And it's been especially easier because my editor for Retro Rebound, Josh, is a huge Kojima fan. So he has like, he's like, I got all the playthroughs ready already. Like he's like, I got every bit of gameplay, whatever you need. Just you got to play it, bro. So I was like, so he made it easy for me. So I was like, sometimes like I don't get to take the Switch on the go because I need to record a little gameplay, those things like that. So I fire it up and just am blown away completely. And being called into that journey, I was like, oh, now once I finished it, I was like, I got to play 2. I was like, I got to play 2, and I shelved 3 because I was like, I got to play 2 to play the 3 remake. So that's where we're at right now, but I've been really enjoying the presentation, the gameplay. I love Raiden because I'm a Metal Gear Rising fan, but in my conversation with Josh, he was just like, he's like, I detest that game. I was
I was there for it, bro. I was there. It was nasty in these streets. People turned on Kojima. They hated what he did with that.
And he was like, I detest that game. And I was like, what? I was like, bro, I love it. He's like, but Maddie, he's like, I'm seeing the things you're saying now. He's like, I think you'll be with me when you get there. So we've been mapping out this Metal Gear excursion. I was like, all right, when can I get? So now I was like, I really want to see. I was like, when can I get there? He's like, here's how we mapped it out. Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3. I don't know if we're going to do Peace Walker or 4. I think we're going to do 4, then Peace Walker, then 5. He's like, after 5, go to Rising. You got the whole understanding there. Go to Rising and see how you feel. And I'm like, so now that's my North Star, right? That's because literally I love that game. I love Platinum. I love Raiden. I love Metal Gear Rising. I love the ridiculousness of it. So I'm like, okay, I got to check this one out. So we're on this journey now, right? And what's great is these games are like the perfect length. Not too long, not too short.
Right.
Like they say all they need to say. But yeah, I've been enjoying Metal Gear Solid 2. I think the codec sequences in 1 I enjoyed more from presentation standpoint.
Okay.
I love the PNGs.
Yeah.
There's something like more, because the idea is like you're kind of looking at what is effectively like a machine in my head. And so when I see like fully animated 3D models talking, it's not bad or anything like that. It reminds me of when Tales of Arise came out. The Tales of series had skits that they would do, and it would be literal portraits of like the PNGs, but they'd be talking and they'd be animated. It was really charming. But then in Arise, they did like cutscenes and 3D, and it robbed it of some of its charm. And so I felt that way when I went back to MGS3. I was like, the whole 3D Snake squatting and just showing his face. Not crazy about that. Same with 2. I do like the codec style of 1 the most, but
the most old school codec style.
But it's cool to kind of experience it this way, like it should have been. I admit, but hey, don't blame me that when I played the HD collection, all right, when I played that on my Vita, they only had 2 and 3.
Yeah,
I did not have a PS1 growing up, and into my adulthood, I didn't have a PS1, so my excuse is sound. But now that I have that understanding, 2's got to get re-experienced. 3's got to get re-experienced. 4 has to get finished. Peace Walker needs to be experienced. 5 needs to be experienced. Like, I need to go on the journey. So I'm doing it. And with my luck at the Nintendo Direct, they'll announce like the Master Collection Volume 2. But yeah, I've been playing MGS2, been having a great time with it. Feels a little old in its level design, but otherwise just very impressive on the AI front. I also want to throw that out there. Like, just seeing like people recognize dead bodies, or when I choke someone out and they're like, hey, you haven't updated in a while. I'm like,
yes, I love that.
Yeah. Creates a little intensity. Like, you got to move fast.
Yes.
So the first person aiming feels great still, even if a little janky. But yeah, overall, good time. So,
yeah, I remember that one, man. I remember that one.
That's what we've been playing here. Cog.
Yo.
It's time to get into the news. Now, we had this subject written in about, and by the way, this is a slow week for the Dukes. We had about, for our 20 write-ins this week, which I was like, wow, where's the audience? Most of the write-ins were about this subject. It's about Pete Hines in an interview he did with Double Tap, talking about Xbox, talking about Bethesda. So let's start off with this write-in here. Comes from Zuno100K, and then I'll give context. He says, "Sup, Dukes? I imagine you guys will be talking about Pete Hines' comments this week. Can I just say how hilarious it is that he is so against subscriptions, considering the business model he was in charge of and championed so much directly led to Bethesda greenlighting Fallout 76, a co-op Wolfenstein with microtransactions, and a 4-person co-op games as a service in Redfall. He says the devs' needs need to be met, as if they aren't right now, but I'm sure Arkane Lyon and MachineGames are glad they're working on Blade and Indiana Jones rather than co-op trash with microtransactions." So this is a lengthy interview. For those who don't have context, Pete Hines retired in 2023. He actually retired a month after Starfield came out.
Yes.
This was both abrupt, but also not abrupt. If you listen to the Dukes and we tracked the FTC court case, there was an email from Pete Hines that indicated he was not very happy with Xbox and how they worded exclusivity to Bethesda versus how exclusivity would work for Activision Blizzard. And then a year later, he left. He also was a Bethesda lifer. He's been there since day one. And given the plethora of exits Xbox has seen, you and I both raised our eyebrow when Pete left. We were like,
yeah, for sure.
Something seems a little like he wasn't happy here. So he's been in hiding since. And by hiding, I mean retirement. He's been enjoying his life. But I always wondered when he would come out, if he would come out, and if he did, what he would talk about. And so he had a lot to share. And I want to get into 2 key quotes. It's a really great read. A lot of it's reflecting and pondering on the bygone days. But also, he said the following, because to get a little foundation here, Bethesda is a family. And I don't say that to protect them, but that, like, they're a very close-knit, privately owned company at one point. Right. Like, the way they did their acquisitions, very organic, very almost PlayStation-esque. Like, they partnered with companies and worked with them extensively, and it became so natural. It's like, hey, come on in. And they would have like holiday parties together, like very familial. Like Robert Altman would literally show up and hand out bonuses in person to people. Mm-hmm. It's a very different company compared to where they are now.
Right.
So he writes, "It was Robert Altman's company and we were his employees, no question, but he treated us more like family and we found a culture that really fits us. When it was working, it was magical. We were a private, small company. It's way easier to stay out of the scrutiny when you're not having to put your earnings reports out to the whole world. There's just no question that the company is not the same. It has been radically changed and altered from the company that we built. It is what it is. Things change, things move on. Pardon me, but at its height, it was a really special thing to be part of." Now, the other thing that he talked about, and then we'll dive into it a little bit deeper, was game subscriptions, namely, of course, Game Pass. He said, quote, "I'm not even working in any of these companies anymore, and so I don't assume that everything I knew while I was in the industry still holds true today." To be fair, this guy retired like October of 2023. So we're talking 2 years ago. I think a lot of what he said still holds true, but he's just being a little gracious. He says, "At the same time, I'm involved enough to know I saw what I consider to be some short-sighted decision-making several years ago, and it seemed to be bearing out the way I said. Subscriptions have become the new 4-letter word, right? You can't buy a product anymore. When you talk about a subscription that relies on content, if you figure out how to balance the needs of the service and the people running the service with the people who are providing the content, without which your subscription is worth jack shit, then you have a real problem. You need to properly acknowledge, compensate, and recognize that what it takes to create that content and not just make a game, but make a product. That tension is hurting a lot of people, including the content creators themselves, because they're fitting into an ecosystem that is not properly valuing and rewarding what they are making. Now, this may sound familiar to those of you who pay attention to all the industry news, and that's because the man who bleeds blue, Mr. Shawn Layden, has been saying a very, very similar thing. He actually, if I can grab his quote right here, hang on.
He had commented on that, on the Pete quote.
Yep. Well, we'll get into that in a second, but just to give context of what he said before the Pete quote.
Right.
I got it right here. He says, there's a lot of debates going on. Is Game Pass profitable? Is Game Pass not profitable? What does that mean? That's not really the right question to ask anyway. You can do all kinds of financial jiggery-pokery for any kind of corporate service to make it look profitable if you wanted to. You take enough costs out and say, that's off the balance sheet, and oh, look, it's profitable now. The real issue for me on things like Game Pass is it healthy for the developer? Under the subscription model, the developer essentially becomes a wage slave, he argues. They're not creating value, putting it in the marketplace, hoping it explodes, and profit sharing and overages and all that nice stuff. It's just, you pay me X dollars an hour, I built you a game, here, go put it on your servers. I don't think it's really inspiring for game developers. Now, I think that's important context because, again, this was said before anything Pete Hines said, so they're saying the same exact thing. Shawn Layden sees this on Twitter. He's outside posting a gif of a guy saying, like, nailed it. Then he goes to his LinkedIn. He says, I'm just going to leave this here. I believe Pete's colorful quote hits the nail right on the head. The question is not, is the service profitable for the platform? Is it healthy and helpful for the developer is what we need to ask. Now, I respect Shawn Layden greatly, but I also understand why some people would raise an eyebrow at PlayStation guy, PlayStation alumni, being against Game Pass in the very business model. I don't think he bleeds blue that hard beyond the point of rationality, because a lot of his theories I don't agree with as well. For example, him saying we should have jacked up the price of games every generation. I'm like, I don't think that would have worked either. But where it started to get interesting in a mild snowball effect. It got a little spicy.
Effect after with a certain Loftis.
Shannon Loftis writes in. Right? Not writes in, I should say. It's the night she wrote into the show. She commented on this. Now, Shannon Loftis, for those who don't know, worked at Microsoft since 1993. And that's a Microsoft lifer, through and through. Left in 2022. One of her last prominent positions was being the VP Microsoft Xbox Game Studios. But before that, she was the studio head of one of the very successful studios under Microsoft in World's Edge, responsible for the Age of Empires series. She was there for 3 years as the studio head, but she's been in Xbox and entertainment and Microsoft since the very beginning. Just like Laura, right? The I'm forgetting her last name, who did the YouTube videos. What was her last name?
Oh, yeah. Why am I forgetting her name right now? I can see her face, glasses.
Yeah, glasses, long brown hair.
Why am I forgetting her name right now?
I apologize. But so kind of in that same pocket, but has been there much more recently than that woman who left around like Gears 2, Gears 3. So she writes, as a longtime first-party Xbox developer, I can attest that Pete is correct. While Game Pass can claim a few victories with games that otherwise would have sunk beneath the waves like Human Fall Flat, the majority of game adoption on Game Pass comes at the expense of retail revenue unless the game is engineered from the ground up for post-release monetization. I could and may someday write pages on this weird inner tension this creates. So there's all your context. Pete, what he said, the follow-up. Obviously, there's prior statements, Larian saying we'll never put Baldur's Gate on Game Pass because we made something we think it should be purchased. Ignoring like Raphael Colantonio going like just last month, or I'm sorry, not last month, back in July, he was like, I think Game Pass has caused a problem for a decade, and I think it's going to continue to cause a problem. And either one thing's going to happen to the other. It's either going to be the industry loses or Microsoft wins. Like it's going to be one of these two. Ignoring all that, what we're seeing collectively here are a lot of people who know the AAA and AA business talking about Game Pass in an interesting way. It's not about profits anymore. It's about what makes sense for developers. Now, I don't think, because I've seen a lot of, as we'll read some write-ins, I've seen a lot of theorizing, a lot of like, they're all against Xbox. I just don't get that vibe here. When a lot of people collectively are saying the same thing, and they're well respected, they're knowledgeable, they've been in the business for a while, they've seen the pros and cons of it. but also they're from all different walks. Like you have an independent studio in like a Larian saying it. You have someone who worked at Bethesda, which is privately owned, now corporate, in Pete saying it. Of course, you get someone from PlayStation saying it. I think it holds stock in its own way, but I get it. Now you get someone who was just there up until 2022, like in the Game Pass day one era. At a certain point, you have to look at it and process it. And I say this as someone who is like pro Game Pass and like, yeah, it's worth your money. Like I'm not subscribed still, but I get why other people find it valuable. It's an awesome service. And I think it's really great for indie. I think it's really great for discoverability. But I do feel like we're at the right point now where we've been doing day one Game Pass since Outriders, really, with 2021. It's a good time to be listening to this stuff because it's been long enough to start to see the effects and assess. So I can't just see this continuously happening across many people that I respect or that we've listened to for years on other subjects, but suddenly we choose not to here. And so there's really two parts to this conversation. A lot of our audience wrote in about Game Pass, but also the transformation at Bethesda. Now, some of what Pete says is a little bit ironic, might be the right word. Like, yeah, it was great, but it seems like he identifies the golden era the same way we do, which is like 2015 and before, like leading into Fallout 4, because from there they got into live service routes and 76 and like was mentioned in right, and like a lot of shady shit that they did, and then they sold off from there. Like they were in survival mode and they acted as such, but there was a golden era where none of that mattered. Games were cheaper to make. And so Bethesda as a whole has changed, and it's changed also because a lot of the leaders that made all these companies worth buying are gone. And so, yeah, it's really sad to see that. But the bulk of our conversation definitely lies in like what Pete said about Game Pass and really the follow-up to it. It's one thing if he says it in a vacuum. I don't really believe in sort of doing the okay, one guy said this, so it must be true. But when you see all these other individuals saying it, it definitely beckons some questions. So I want to read a couple of write-ins here.
Sure.
First one's Mr. Scott, if you're nasty. He says, "Dear, if a game is good, won't it sell? I mean, why are all these suits complaining about subscription services? Could it be that indies and smaller budget games have handed AAA developers their asses recently and they're feeling the pressure? Call me old-fashioned, but if a good product is made, people will buy it. Have a consumers driving change kind of day." Meanwhile, the one writes in, "Hello, Maddie and Cog. A lot of interesting information from Pete Hines' interview over the weekend. Two highlights are Bethesda's view on their games going on Game Pass, which was great insight. The other was Fallout 76's collector's edition debacle, where he was claiming that there was a canvas shortage, defending the cheap bag from that collector's edition, which is the biggest load of bullshit I read from Pete Hines. I hope you boys have a great day." Last write-in, and I'll kick it to you, Cog, is from Deuces, bruh. He says, "Hey guys, former Xbox exec Shannon Loftis commented on Game Pass causing, quote, weird inner tensions, end quote, within the game development groups, specifically citing how it incentivizes post-release monetization. It seems we can't find a single former executive who thinks the product is beneficial to the industry. At what point do you guys think the value of Game Pass is overshadowed by the race to the bottom it seemingly is creating? Appreciate the content, Ben." Thank you, Ben, for writing in. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Scott, Juan, thank you, Zuno, everyone for writing it. Appreciate it. Especially on weeks like this week where a lot of y'all suddenly go silent because there's no hot button topic. Getting too still. Come on now. But in all seriousness, Cog.
Yo.
Hines opens up. Industry follows suit. We've been seeing a lot of this. And now we're hearing from people who have like more hands-on experience at a top level and the developer level. So I have plenty of thoughts, but I've talked for a while now. What do you make of the Pete Hines interview, what's being shared here, and Game Pass as a future?
Yeah, this is good stuff, man. I love getting information like this. Shout out to Pete. You know, I got a lot of respect for Pete. He's one of the people that, you know, I met him 2 times, but one time was right after Starfield. We had a great conversation. And one thing about him is you see the passion. You know, just I remember him talking about different systems in the game and, you know, the decisions to do certain things. I think we were talking about like hijacking ships and stuff. Like, bro, that was so cool. I love that mechanic. He's like, yeah, you know, all the different things involved with making that happen and how further they wanted to push it. So this is a man that loves games, and it's a man who's respected in the building. So look, obviously I have my thoughts about Shawn Layden's initial comments, because his initial comments to me make it seem as if, you know, the company with the third place active, you know, users in the ecosystem of gaming, their exclusive model is damaging the entire industry. And I just, to be honest, I just don't subscribe to that. I just don't. I can understand how you could say, because of how disruptive Game Pass was, that forced Sony to maybe come up with a similar model as far as, PlayStation Plus, and then maybe that did harm to them because it's kind of like a copycat league. And as a result of that, and then when it comes to the development, this is where I think the strongest argument from everyone involved is. And this is where when I listened to Pete, I had to acknowledge this part, which is, yes, we could make the argument that Bethesda was downhill and they were doing a lot of foolishness, and thus they were running themselves out of the business and they needed to be acquired. That part is true. But there's also a second part of it, which is now that they are part of Xbox Game Studios family. And, we saw the FTC documents when it came to Starfield, and Pete was kind of pushing back at Xbox leadership, like, okay, this is what we're doing. This helped me make this make sense. And they're a company, for the most part, has been Save Player One. They're the most part that...
The most ironic thing they ever did, by the way, just like in the thick of Fallout 76 and Fallout First, they were like, Save Player One. I'm like, guys.
Yeah. It was hypocritical. We're not going to give them any smoke for, like one of the writers said, for making a lot of trend chasing, desperate moves to try to adapt to an industry that may have been passing them by and could have led to them being out of the industry before they acquired. So I'm always going to be Lord Acquisition for them. I will give that. That's just fact. They weren't doing, it was Youngblood, it was 76, it was Canvas Bags, it was a lot of stuff that was going on. We were like, hey, what are they doing, right? But let's get back on point. This is what I want to defend Pete Hines and the Shawn Layden part of his argument that I feel is the strongest, right? In conjunction with Shannon Loftis is saying, which is you have a studio who, again, is very communal. He's loved in that building. Make no mistake. And from what I heard, and I know you may have heard things, when it came down to actually talking about it and being about it and laying stuff on the line to preserve people in that building off of his accord, I heard that was done. So really, I can't be disrespectful to this man because this is really DNA, but that's and more recent than the other two. Right? Shawn Layden's not even in the Xbox building. Shannon Loftis, respectfully, she's been going away, right? But he at least has more recent Xbox data, especially when they were transitioning to now they're required and now it's Game Pass. So basically what I'm trying to say is this. Where I think the strongest argument, what everyone is saying is this, and you've talked about it, which is if you're making games in a Game Pass era and you're Bethesda or your Compulsion, and if you're Ninja Theory, and you make these games that, let's be honest, are very single player cinematic-y kind of games, or indie bespoke darker experience or whatever it is, that doesn't have a multiplayer component, that doesn't have this long term of monetization. Because one thing we have to admit with Game Pass, and this is what came out with the MachineGames article when they were talking about Indiana Jones. He literally said, we know Game Pass users jump in and jump out.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're making Indiana Jones in the Great Circle, who has all these amazing cinematics, super story driven, that is really not monetization based, like, how do you adapt? What is the metric for value of success in a monthly active user engagement kind of thing when if you're on the Xbox platform, right? Where they're not going to buy the game most likely because it's in the service. How do you define success in that world? I think that it's fair. And then I think it's fair to say, how do you help the developers maintain their vision, realize that it's okay to do what they're doing? Yeah. That is fair. Like, I can't say Peter's bugging on that part. It is interesting. Now, he gave it a caveat. He's been going away. Now, this is my assumption. Again, they know the answer, right? Because I've been on record multiple times. I thought Game Pass was going away at Business Update. I thought this was going to be them admitting that this experiment is over. It is a failure. We need to get back to making money per sale, right? Even with Call of Duty, I was like, oh, wow, we still doing that? Remember? Yeah. I was like, whoa, okay, you staying through. So the way I looked at it, again, I am not in these rooms. I'm not a financial guru, but financial people don't make these decisions unless they feel that there is a way or a path, right? Mm-hmm. Even if it's long-term, the path still may not work. But right now, they think it's a path to still do this. So this is what I think happened. Pete was setting up the spicy emails. Why are we making these Starfield exclusive? Like, why are we putting this on the server? Like, what are we doing? Right? Why are we making this exclusive and we not selling it to PlayStation? That's part of the argument with Starfield. I remember it. What I think has happened is once Satya and them got in the building, was like, okay, we ain't seeing enough money. Where's the money at? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? That's when, and then remember, this is post Pete Hines.
Yeah.
Then it became multi-plat release. So my assumption is how they are internalizing. Okay, South of Midnight, if you make South of Midnight 2 Compulsion, that's got to be day and date with everybody at the same time. If you make Hellblade 2, that you start saying, I think that's what's happening. There's this transition to now everything's going to be, you're going to have Game Pass, but that's going to be at the same time as everybody else. Yeah. And then also we're going to bring legacy stuff, and we are slowly transitioning to the biggest publisher in gaming that just happens to have I think that's the new data versus the gap. Now back to Pete's argument and back to Shawn Loftis' argument. Again, I think it is fair if you're in the Xbox Game Studios ecosystem, not if you're PlayStation, not if you don't have Game Pass. I really don't want to hear what you're talking about, because free to play is what is killing games. That is what's taking all the engagement. People are not upgrading consoles. People are staying with the Sinister Six. That is the true threat. People don't want to buy, and Generation Z is looking at us like we're crazy for spending all this money. And consoles are getting more expensive as the generation goes on, and the prices of games are getting higher as the games go. This is an attack on the entire console model. That's what's happening. But to Xbox Studio family, it is fair for you guys to say, how do we show value in a world where we have a service that they may not necessarily value arcade type if we're not multiplayer and if we're not live service? That is a fair argument. And I know for a fact, and I can say this part, there are people in that building who are scared to death of that future and don't know what that future holds for them, especially in the layoff culture and what's been going on. So that's what I'm hearing. I know people are not happy. I know some people who are upset. Me and you both know people who are not happy. So that I think is fair. I think your point is strong in the sense that I don't look at this as like, these dudes just got fired and that's it. They mad. They hating. Because I don't subscribe to that. No, like they have information. They have data. You're not going to just say all this stuff just willy-nilly, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So that's just where I'm at with it. I think that this is the story of Xbox that they have to answer long-term, how they figure that part out. All I can say is I'm a consumer first. All I can say for me, I have the best service in game that's provided me the best value. And I would love it to see. I thought it would be over. I don't know how long that's going to last, right? But I'm rocking out as far as if they're going to continue to do it, as long as they show that there's clearly some reason, some path that they think this works. Because if it's completely destroying them, you cut cords. People are not in the business of losing money. They're just not. So that's where I'm at. But I will, final point. I know I'm rambling.
No, you're good.
When Pete says it made me pay attention.
Yeah.
Pete is the respect in that building.
Yeah.
And for what he's done, again, I know the track record is not flawless. I'll give people who are detractors of Pete that, but that's a man that is loved and respected. And I don't see him just jumping out the window without saying that these tensions do have an effect. And Microsoft's got to figure that out, man. They got to figure that's on them.
Yeah. To support Pete's argument, I mean, when you look at massive moments of success for Bethesda, obviously it's a combined effort always, but like the choice to do the Fallout 4 presentation, the famous one in 2015, 30 minutes, it's coming out in 6 months. That was a combination of Todd and Pete. Like Todd gets burnt out at E3. I mean, it's mentioned in his article, but it's something they've told about the story about before. Like, Ty got burnt out every E3 demoing the same game all day for multiple days. Pete said, what if I could get it for you to do it one time? That show is born. They're more ambitious than most in a lot of ways with their marketing, like launching right next to Call of Duty when you're Skyrim. We saw how that worked out. Skyrim is a timeless video game, and that was absolutely the right call. Or when games could only come out in the fall period, and so springtime was not considered a popular release window, and here comes Oblivion in May. So I take what he says without sounding like a glazer, I take what he says on the business very seriously, because this guy knows how to pop. Like, that's how I look at him. Like, this guy knows how to make money. He knows what gets people excited. He knows how to please your developers and your fans. Like, he, again, like you mentioned, and I've mentioned before, like, track record's not perfect, like this is definitely the Fallout First thing, which I don't know if that was him, but I'm saying, like, under his tenure, Fallout First and the whole series of greenlighting all these shitty live service games. And of course, you throw in the mix there, the Save Player One fiasco versus, them not doing Player One games. And yeah, there's some blemishes, no doubt, across his like 24 years. But for the most part, this guy has shown how Bethesda got to where they are today.
And to his credit, he even had accountability for a lot of those mess ups.
Yeah,
that we mentioned.
I still don't fully buy canvas shortage. That just sounds.
Yeah, that was weird.
He doubled down on it, and I'm like, all right, he called it the dumbest thing he ever did. I'm not going to harp on it.
Yeah.
He's owning it enough, but he's also giving himself an out. Like, hey, wasn't fooling me.
Yeah.
I don't buy the canvas shortage. So I'm like, when I was like, who the fuck was getting canvas?
Yeah, that was a bad scandal. I remember that one.
Yeah, but I'm right there with you. Yeah, I just look at how you have group of people. Honestly, if any quote had the most impact on me, it's kind of Shannon. Like, very recent studio head, well-respected team, has a diehard fan base, sells well.
Bro, head of Xbox Game Studios for a long time. Right?
Up there at the tippy top, and got to see it all. And from the bottom to the top for throughout 20 plus years. Like, I don't think you just like, that's not, again, like, I think Laura Fryer is her last name.
Laura Fryer, yeah.
Like Laura, for some people, comes across like, oh, she remembers the good old days. Like many of us, she's jaded, or she hasn't been in the building long enough, and therefore, we can't take what she says with stock. But I'm like, at a certain point, we can only wipe so much off the board, and with caveats before. I'm like, you got to just listen. And I think Shannon's one of those where I'm like, okay, if she, who has very recent and long-term experience, is saying like, yeah, it's not all bad. Just like Pete wasn't saying it was all bad, but does it create a weird environment? Yes, because, I mean, I guess think of our videos a little bit, right? Like, when you make a video, it's got the chance to bang. If you make the right video and it does bang, revenue kicks in. You're like, I'm glad I invested that time and effort in that thing that was unique to my platform, whether it be a review or a video essay or whatever it may be. And you get that kickback from like investing in that product. But if YouTube becomes like just a pure subscription service and it's like everyone's getting like flat rates, you're just making games, but not like developing a vision and sort of seeing how you can be a groundbreaker. And I see how that can pose a problem, especially when you start to see how developers talk about their own products change too. Like, South of Midnight's a great example, because South of Midnight to me is a full-on Game Pass game. Like, it is very much, I mean that both in like a complimentary way, as I'll explain, but also kind of the demeaning way. Complimentary, I mean, South of Midnight's a Game Pass game because that game's probably not existing without Game Pass. And I think that's cool. Like, that's what Game Pass can do. It's also a Game Pass game in the worst sense, because I'm like, yeah, it's incomplete, it's unpolished. It's kind of frustrating, that department, of how long they spent on it and how the story's not done and didn't wrap up well at all. And the combat did not feel nearly as good as it should have. Like, there's a lot of problems with that game that made it good, but like a little disappointing. And when you see the follow-up comments to this game not selling a lot, but just getting players, is like, well, we don't make blockbusters. And I'm like, I don't think anyone, unless you're Call of Duty or a Rockstar, does this knowing they're making a blockbuster. You do it to make games that you hope resonate with lots of people. And when you're just like, well, we don't make blockbusters, that's kind of like a fallout argument that I worry a bit about, because when I feel the shortchanging in your product and then your response to that is kind of measured along that same energy I'm getting from your game, that's what I worry about with, even though that's not a AAA product, it's more like a AA product. I still worry about what that means for how game devs are thinking. And it's like, well, we're just feeding Game Pass, so like our role is filled. And especially, I could see Satya seeing that quote and be like, oh, word, you're not into making blockbusters. Well, not really Satya himself, but we're going to cancel ZeniMax Online Studios game to go greenlight Fallout. Oh, they care about blockbusters up there. Oh, yeah. So you better start caring about it, or else your studio's on a timer, as far as I'm concerned. So it's changing the way developers, in some cases, think and talk about their games. In indie, it makes sense. Like, hey, we might put this out and it'll sell like 5,000 if we're lucky. But Game Pass can bring it to 50,000, and maybe we go from 5,000 sales to 10,000. For indie, that little short range can be everything. And it makes complete sense why indies benefit heavily from games. Why, like, for myself, I always say, like, yo, would I put my game on Game Pass if we had the chance? Of course. Like, it's fucking awesome service. Like, it's great for exposure on that level. But I think for the top end of how the business is done, I feel we're starting to see a little bit of the crack showing. Not even, I'm over the whole, is it profitable? I'm of team profit. Like, I think it makes money. There's been enough times it's been stated and stated again where I'm like, look, at a certain point, I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like, just no, we're denying reality itself. Like, it seems like it's a profitable service. Just by nature of what you also said, like, just the nature of sticking with it. You know, like, even when in face of changing your entire business model and taking the biggest egg on your face,
right,
sticking with it. I'm like, okay, there's got to be something here that month to month is generating you good revenue. But in pursuit of filling that with content, I do wonder what that looks like long term, long term, I mean. And so I get where these developers are coming from. I can't speak personally because I don't know what it's like. We ourselves don't think about like, well, if we get this in Game Pass, then, who cares about how it sells? But indie can afford to think that way. I don't think AAA can. Like, indie can be like, okay, our development's $500K. We got a $500K Game Pass deal. We're launching on all platforms. Otherwise, profit. Like, that's the beauty of Game Pass in a nutshell right there. Like, you can bring these small projects into a very healthy financial state like that. That's cool. It's getting harder to do that nowadays because Xbox is giving out way less bags. But it's an interesting time. And I don't, to one of our write-ins, like, oh, if you make a good game, it's going to get noticed. I get that. And in a lot of ways, I think the term should be, if you make something quality, you have the highest chance of being rewarded for that. But there's tons of great games. We could all name at least a handful where it's great. It sells like shit.
Yep.
That is sadly the very competitive industry that we are in. Yeah. So I don't agree with like, hey, it's just going to sell well. I think those of you who are listening are like me, by the way. Like I chose to unsubscribe from Game Pass after some of the moves I did not fully agree with, because that was my way of being like, hey, I like you guys. I'm still going to buy your games, but I'm not going to give you my money every single month if I don't have to.
Right.
But I think for those of you who are like, I would consider myself diehard, but like very diehard, very fervent in your support, doesn't mean that it's going anywhere, but just pay attention to what people are saying. I don't think it's this concerted conspiracy effort to undermine. I didn't get that vibe fully, but I see some people thinking about it that way. And I'm like, look, I get it when it's like one person mouthing off, but when it's happening consecutively, it's a pattern. And you got to pay attention to those types of patterns.
I agree with that. The only thing I am empathetic to the Xbox community is I do feel gotta be careful. With media, it seems to drive traffic to say the Game Pass conversation consistently drives traffic, whether it's a success, it's a failure, and this, that, and the third. And I will say, like, it does feel weird. As a person who's been around the block as a 40-plus-year-old gamer, it does feel weird to continue to question something that is the most pro-consumer move. Usually if something is pro-consumer in gaming history, we praise. Yeah. We praise. We don't dissect to this level to make sure, like, yo, is everything okay? And that's where I do empathize with Xbox on this, because it's just
That's
like,
fair.
okay,
Yeah.
you have something that is the most pro-consumer. Like, if I had Genesis Pass, Dreamcast Pass, like, bro, my little broke teenage self who could only afford something, I'm looking at the back of the box like, man, I hope this game's good, but I only got $60, man, and I gotta make this choice. And now it's like, yo, you giving me, bro, like, that's what I'm saying. So it's a part of me is like, okay, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that's fair.
Like that, it's a little much for me all the time. But no, like I said, you know, I guess my final thing with this is this. Like I said, the financial people have to make those decisions. But it's just like, for me, my theory, again, I could be wrong, is just that they said to themselves, we have to transition to simultaneous multi-plat release for this to work. If we're not going to get the retail sale from Xbox first party games on Game Pass and get that $70 up front, you're going to launch it on Switch and you're going to launch it on PlayStation, and we're going to get that bread that way. And that's probably the only way this really works for us to do this. Otherwise, again, what was I expecting is them to hit me with the Sega, we are a publisher, your consoles in effectively that day. That's what I was expecting. I know how the song and dance works when things don't work out. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But now, to that final point, I want to reiterate. Just because someone says something about a platform I love, right, I don't automatically dismiss. Right. Yeah. And when enough people say something, it is fair to dissect and take the emotion out of it. Right. And say, okay, even though I like Game Pass, Game Pass is the greatest thing that's like bread to me. Why is Pete saying this? Why is Shannon Loftis saying, okay, let me see where they're coming from. And I think that's fair. I think we have to use that type of critical thinking. It doesn't matter what platform you're a fan of. You should at least listen, especially with people with that level of cachet, you know, who've been in the, like I said, when Pete said it, oh, my antennas went up. When Shannon said it, oh, my antennas went up. Let's see what's going on. Let's see where they're coming from. Yeah.
Honestly, I wasn't even going to talk about it in my own video, but because like Pete, like to me, it was just like one of those moments where I was like, oh, this is particularly interesting to me. But then when I saw Shawn say it, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Shannon was like the backbreaker. I was like, okay.
You know what the backbreaker was for me? MachineGames.
I didn't even include that in the video. I forgot that they mentioned
they're actively in the building right now, making arguably one of the hottest Xbox games that they made, right? With Indiana Jones, right? Yeah. And I was like, whoa, for them to say, because we got the data, we see that they jump in and jump out. And basically it was like a moral thing. Do we change what we do? Because we're this very story-driven, highly cinematic games. And remember, I've got data because I've been speaking to developers. Bro, this is not just Game Pass. I don't want to make it an attack on the Xbox ecosystem. Gamers in general are skipping cinemas. The ratio of percentage with, I think I was speaking to Benford K. I spoke to like 2 other developers. I was like, yo, damn, this story. I wish you could have, like, bro, they
skip the cutscenes.
Bro, I know people.
That's fucking weirdo behavior, in my opinion. No offense to anyone who's listening and is like, I do skip all my cutscenes. I'm like,
bro, I know Gen Zers who skip cutscenes, who play and don't listen to music.
I have a friend who's like that. I wonder if that's kind of like, bro, there's 2 ways of thinking about it. Is it like a attention span thing? Is it mental illness? Is it both?
Bro, like, I ain't gonna call my homie out, but like, he listens to music sometimes. So but there's times where he uses his Bluetooth feature and he'll have his own music and his own thing going on. He's watching a YouTube or a TikTok video and playing a game. They are the ultimate multitaskers. They're not, the attention spans are short. They're not staying in there. And then you got the doom scroller dudes who are just all day.
Oh, God, yeah.
Bro,
yeah.
Gen Z, that's what I said. I understand what Shawn is talking about. Gen Z is making an attack on traditional console gaming. This is more than just, subscription service evil. This is a whole generation of gamers that do not behave the way we behave. They look at us like we are dinosaurs, bro. I'm telling you, that's the big issue.
No, you're right. It's interesting because in that Shawn Layden article that I talked about him kind of going in on Game Pass, it was also mentioned that like 77% of the monetization of this industry comes from like in-game purchases, which is insane. by the way, when you think of all the huge single player successes, but most of the money made is in-game purchases. So what you start to see is when you connect these dots to those who are listening and are open to the subject, like you start to see like, okay, we have a service where the most successful games we feel and see are usually multiplayer. Like that's normally when we see like a multiplayer game come day one to Game Pass, what's our first thought with like Rematch? We're like, oh, great fit. It's always, oh, great fit. It's multiplayer. Yeah, like get the base in, let the in-game purchases make it up. So now you're starting to make games that are expected to not be paid for at all. Kind of like you mentioned, Cog, free to play, but kind of tackling it a little bit differently. Like there's the premium or the kind of rental subscription thing. And you can't act like when the economics of the industry are shifting so much, not you, I say, but just generally speaking, you, that when the economics of the industry have shifted so much that developers aren't going to react to it. They're especially funding's tough to come by, man. Like these, okay. Without outing anybody, these publishers are marketers.
Bro,
the amount of people who rejected our game, which was deep in development and went, when you're done, is unbelievable. And I'm saying that is the one bit of personal anecdote I will add to this is the amount of people who said, yeah, like this looks good. You guys, you came this far in this much time. This is your team size, this is your budget. Okay, cool. When you're done, we're happy to publish it. I'm like, bruh, we make the whole fucking game. Then what are you? Like you're a marketer. You know, exactly. And there are marketing deals, of course. And like I guess for us long term, we're like, well, if we go this route, we'll strike a way better deal for ourselves, of course. That's neither here or there right now. The reality is though that a lot of these publishers are not spending.
Not
in
the
indie space where like spending is a little cheap compared to others out there. And they're like, I had one dude I pitched to one time and like I showed him our budget, which I don't think is outlandish. And I've talked to other developers. I've been like, I got this one reaction. I was like, are we crazy? Like, no, you're good. But like I had this one guy, he's like, oh, like that. I was like, bro, he was an in-person one. I was like, bro, Jesus Christ. Yeah. You know, that's where their brains are at. Everyone's looking for cheap, like do a lot with a little.
Yes.
And so that is the one thing that I can attest to. And so, yeah, for like us, there is that gut check of like, hey, we're going down this particular route that we strongly believe in. How much do we believe in it though? If publishers are like, yeah, finish it yourself, then we'll do something. It's like, okay, so we're about to self-fund everything we want to do moving forward. What does that look like? What do the sales look like? And then you go into the thought process of like, do we make something that Game Pass would really like? Because we can at least guarantee money that way. It becomes a business. Right. I think we obviously didn't go that route because we were like, well, it takes the creative out of it all. Maybe make it a little bit more difficult, but I think you lose what makes a game.
Facts.
And a vision. But no doubt there is that, like, we don't have a conversation about, but there's that brief fleeting thought of like, wow, this would be a lot easier if we just made something that a subscription service liked. And there are developers who have done this for like 10, 20 years and they're like, I'm tired of the struggle. I just want to make things. And this is the easiest way to make things. Great. There are indie devs I talk to who are grinders out there and they'll literally go like this. What's the hot new thing? Stadia, Apple Arcade, Game Pass, PS Plus, whatever it may be. And they'll sell their game to that because if that's new, like when Apple Arcade was just starting to kick around and be like, yeah, we're funding some things. It's like, oh, Apple, we'll make you a game. Yeah. Oh, you're paying like $3 million for a $1 million project. Yeah, we'll make you one. All the public will be like, you guys are making something for Apple Arcade, but we're going to be $2 million richer than we were before.
That part.
It's more of a business than I think people reckon with. And it's why it's so enlightening to speak with developers so often now, because I get to hear I feel like I get, not to the deepest technicality, but I feel like I get the creative process. Yeah. The business process, though, has been a fascinating journey because it is, as Cog has said so many times, and he's been right on the money all the way through, cats and dogs sleeping together, two sides that do not get along but have to. It is a very cutthroat, cold business side with creatives.
Yeah.
If I were to draw it to a lower level than that, it's like trying to get review codes from a publisher. Like some are just not playing ball. Like they're just like, yeah, your number's all right, but okay. I'll give you a launch key.
Yeah. I've heard for a fact they can print out as much as they truly want to. Like it's there we go with the business part, right?
Yeah.
And messing with the creative aspect. It's so difficult.
Yeah.
Bro.
So it's an interesting conversation, of course, but I hope people take it with good faith, because I feel what Pete says is not in bad faith, and I don't think what Shawn even says is in bad faith. But when you got like 3 people in concert who have been there, done that for a long time, I think you pay attention. If you listen to Raphael Colantonio, Swen Vincke, like people who we call industry heroes saying the same thing, I'm like, I don't think this is a whole fighting change thing. Like Colantonio is a great example of a guy who launched Wild West or Weird West, whatever it's called, day one in Game Pass. Like he knows. He knows. And so I think there's some people who are like snake bitten, but you interviewed a guy who was kind of snake bitten, was like, it didn't really work.
Alec Hutchinson. He told me that I learned through Hutchinson, I didn't even know, like his bag was it was a different, it was like, I forgot the term. It wasn't a standard Game Pass bag.
Like an engagement bag?
Yeah, it was a different term. And I was like, I didn't even know that existed. So I was like, you didn't really get, forgive me because I forget the term right off top right now. But it wasn't the triple structure like, hey, we pay for you. No, it was completely different. I was like, wow. So he was like, for us, I remember being on socials like, hey, man, please buy the skins. Please buy the extra stuff. That really helps us. So a lot of people are coming out and like, bro, you got the Game Pass bag. What you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? He was like, no, like our bag is different. And me and King were like, whoa. And then that's what showed us like, the bags had changed and the way they were giving them out had changed. You know what I'm saying? So it's a now they're pulling back on some of that stuff too, right? So man, it's worth a listen. That's why I love talking to devs. I love, getting industry, luminaries and their insight, because even though I may have assumptions on how things work, you know what I'm saying? They could give you some extra insight on certain stuff too. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Any additional thoughts on this subject, Cog?
No, it's just good stuff, man. Like I said, I'm a person that I like to listen and get as much information I can, before I jump out the window and just automatically assume someone's hating or whatever. But I also just wanted to show balance with, people with the consumer side also. You know what I'm saying? There are people who love this service, and obviously I know Shannon's comments were about, there's like you can pick and choose, but I can name, as far as like how many games that benefits, but I can name at least a dozen this year, between the altars, was it Path of the Goddess, Expedition 33, if Planet of Lana, if these games didn't exist on Game Pass, I would not have known, would not have bought them.
Yeah, the discoverability is unmatched. Yeah. If you're I think AA can even benefit from it, even if things are getting more expensive on that end, but I think indie to AA benefit from it a lot. I think the AAA machine, notice all the people who are talking about this worked in AAA.
Yes.
Like extensively.
And that's where I think the shift is. And I think I'm not going to come at them, but I feel like old school development or old school processes, this is the biggest inflection point, because
it's a whole shift.
Yeah. The older big game, that ain't gonna work for them. Like that's not, you know what I'm saying? Look, because I listed some of the games. I was like, what are the games? I was like, Altars, Konitsugamen, Path of the Goddess, Expedition 33, Planet of Lana, Revenge of the Savage Planet, 33 Immortals, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, Iron and Chronicle, Still Wakes the Deep, Towerborn, all the Warhammer games that came out on Game Pass. If it wasn't for, I would not have played, would not have known. And the majority of those fall in that AA or, hey, especially in terms of, Konitsugami Path of the Goddess and Ninja Gaiden 2 and Ninja Gaiden 4, those games wouldn't even came out if it wasn't for Xbox. Like, they helped fund the game, get the joint across the thing. So there are a lot of success stories, but to your point, the size of those games, these are smaller joints. The bigger games, I don't think work. And thus, we've have evidence that, it's a Strassalnik. A lot of people like, we have never put our...
Even Activision.
Yeah, Activision. Like,
Bobby Kotick was like, we would never do that.
Until they got it right. Yeah, facts. So I get it. And I think that's the shift. And maybe it's just we're going to have to get smaller. We're going to have to get, cheaper. And I think it's a big shift. The game industry is under attack. I'm telling you, it's a lot of things right now. And I understand why OGs are very concerned. I will say that.
100%. Well, we'll see if Xbox burns it all down. For now, we have Tokyo Game Show coming up. Cog, you'll be here. Yes. This is what they write on the Xbox Wire. We're thrilled to announce the Tokyo Game Show 2025 broadcast on Thursday, September 25th. This is at, by the way, 6 a.m. Eastern time. So I will not be awake for this one.
We ain't gonna go.
Nope.
We ain't doing the Duke at 6.
No. I'll see you when I see you, man.
See you. Respect. I respect that time zone. That's brutal.
I love Xbox. I love talking Xbox.
We on like 5 a.m. in the morning.
I love my sleep a little bit more. That's all.
You gonna catch that Xbox Wire post? I see.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Just literally wake up, Google what got announced at Tokyo Game Show 2025. This year's show will feature titles from our creative teams alongside exciting updates from our partners in Japan, across Asia, and around the world. We know players around the world delight in Japan-inspired content and games developed in Asia, and we can't wait to connect with players across the globe to show off the incredible talent and creativity behind upcoming games to Xbox. Once again, we've created a bespoke visual identity for Xbox at Tokyo Game Show using an urban neon aesthetic. The design puts the viewer in a street scene. Yeah, you and I had the same thought there. Street scene that is distinctly Tokyo, with various signs illuminating the way, all featuring gaming and Xbox iconography. Read on for all the details about Xbox at Tokyo Game Show 2025. So they're going to have hands-on with the ROG Xbox Ally, Ninja Gaiden 4. They're going to have Bethesda merchandise there with eShop. It says it's going to be official merchandise for Fallout, Starfield, Doom, Oblivion, and rare products never before released in Japan. Cog, if you see anything, let a guy know.
I got you.
Yeah, let a guy know.
Some fly stuff, some
any
Fallout stuff.
It's got such nice merch. I love it. Merch.
Lit.
But that's it, Cog. That's what we got here for the Tokyo Game Show plans. Seems like Forza's kind of, if you know the leak, I guess it kind of reads like, oh, interesting. You're doing a street and an urban neon aesthetic and
how
Tokyo. I don't think it's just because you're in Japan. I think it might be because you might be whipping in Japan a little bit soon. So, Cog, what are our expectations and feelings for Tokyo Game Show 2025 with Xbox?
Yeah, I feel stuff is happening. Actually, one of their I don't know, marketing guys or some PR person put a tweet out like a day ago. It was like, you guys don't want to miss this. So again, it leads me to believe that, and even Jez Corden has said that, his sources have said that obviously Forza Horizon 6 seems to be very strong chance of debuting there. I think that would be an amazing look. That is the get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
You want to make $1 zillion location for Forza as a multi-platform release to be announced there. Obviously, and was it in the Xbox Wire post they talked about was it Ninja Gaiden 4? I've been seeing shout out to Nakayo-san, he's been talking about that. He also talked about the ROG Ally and how I guess they were set that they're utilizing things to optimize and stuff like that specifically for the device. So I would expect that. Yeah, I expect them to have a presence there. I'm curious about, I guess for me, I'm curious about obviously Game Pass announcements, any Japanese titles that were Gap titles still remaining, coming to the any new thing. There's rumors of, Persona something. You know what I mean? I know Sega and RGG.
Love to wake up to that.
Oh boy. Sega and RGG will have a presence, from my understanding as well. Obviously the Lords will be there. We've been making plans. We shoot with TJS. Oh, shout out to TJ, but man, your registration process, boy, it's really cutting it close, buddy.
Oh, so it still is.
My God, bro, what is going on? We're giving assurances that things just started late. I think it's a new PR company, whatever, but it's a bit scary to be like, hey, we've all booked it. We're waiting to get registration accepted, kind of thing. But we were told, that's kind of straightened out. You will get an email with a code and all that stuff. I think they just overwhelmed, which leads me to believe that this is bigger than what they've anticipated. Them being, not saying a small show, but I think there's a lot going on. So yeah, we're excited, man. We're excited to see what's going on. There seems to be a lot of magical things happening, aligning for this trip. That obviously the community, and shout out to the Rum and the Duke, shout out to Rum's ILP, who have really helped us get there. And we want to be extremely thankful. This is a dream trip. Never in my life. I've always been like, man, I want to go. I want to, see what this is about. And we're excited. We're excited to cover there. But yeah, they should have a presence. They should have a presence. I guess my last question would be like, how much of a presence does Bethesda have? I know they said they got some info shop. So maybe they give us a little announcement or something. It'd be nice. Just saying, you want to do something that'll be there. But yeah, I'm excited. It seems like they're gonna have a couple of some announcements here that should be substantial. And I want to go hands on with the Ally to see how further it has come, because I know. Shout out to my man, the Fox. Shout out to Digital Foundry. They were putting it through its paces, and some feedback that wasn't too pleasant on things that still need to be worked out on. Yeah. And I said, "Oh, okay," kind of thing. So I'm curious to if they took that feedback. But I'm day one for that one. But I still want to see it and see how it performs.
Yeah, for me, the game I'm hoping to see there is Threads of Time. That was announced last year. For those who remember, it's a game that, by the way, I think I'm looking at their Steam page. It literally says it's inspired by the like Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger. Okay. It is the very cinematic, for those who remember, the very cinematic pixel art title. Right. And I think it looks spectacular. And so I think that one will definitely catch a lot of people's attention. And we got that revealed at the last Tokyo Game Show, so it's been a year. I don't think we've gotten anything since. Yeah. And so I think this would be one to keep an eye on that I think could show up. I was looking back at some of the announcements for 2024 in general at Tokyo Game Show, and a lot of Square Enix. Konami was there. They had Splinterhead. They had Metaphor. They had Metal Gear. They had Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Bleach, Atelier, Yumiya. So they had like literally everybody there. Yeah. So there's a lot of potential for this one, especially if they have a big announcement, because for Xbox Game Studios, it was bringing animals to your camp in Fallout 76. There was Indiana Jones being localized in Japanese, Immortal Pillars expansion being teased for Age of Mythology Retold, and Overwatch 2 collabing with My Hero Academia. That was really StarCraft Remastered was also announced, but otherwise just a lot of partner stuff shown off. So I think we might get into that, which would be cool. Yeah.
I definitely want to see what Square Enix is doing, because obviously around that time we should get more information on the remake, right? We should get hopefully Tactics should be out by then, I think. And I'm curious. Square usually has a fairly presence right there, so I'm really excited to see what they're going to be doing too.
Right on. All right, Cog. That's the news for the week, all wrapped up. It's time for our final segment, Game Pass Pick of the Week. I think this might be the easiest week of all time. It's Hollow Knight Silksong. I try not to do the week-to-week streaming here, kind of like your waiver wire pickups, if you will, in a fantasy league, where it's like, all right, this is the new one. That's my pick of the week. No doubt. But look, man, I mean, like, what else are you going to be looking at Game Pass this week? They intentionally kept it light. The only other thing that was recently added was Paw Patrol World and Dragon Age the Veilguard, if you're interested. So you have a lot of great choices here, but amongst them all is Hollow Knight Silksong. And look, man, just Team Cherry's doing something special, right? 500K plus players for an indie project while being on Game Pass day one is incredible. Crashing stores in any indie title, whether it be a Fall Guys or these viral hits, but just being able to do that as a single player hardcore Metroidvania title is amazing. Like, just the amount of people who want to access that game at once. I know. So cool to see. It actually took down Game Pass for a little bit because so many people were trying to download it once. This is a gigantic game. I know a lot of people are talking about its difficulty, so that's why I wanted to also throw in the Game Pass Pick of the Week, because look, man, like, I heard this one's tough. The first one was apparently tough though, so I don't know, but this game is big. You can get lost in it, and it's definitely bang for your buck, especially in Game Pass. Bang for your buck, bro. But Team Cherry, they have 3 developers there, bro. At least 500K plus sales right now on Steam alone. No publisher. So, bro, play that thing unapologetically on Game Pass.
Woo, man, salute to them. Boy, they got a Game Pass bag on top like this. Wow.
They probably used that Game Pass bag though.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I mean, if they sign like an engagement deal though, Xbox is probably like, these fucking suckers signed an engagement deal, and then they see all the hype popping up, and they're like, oh, they signed an engagement deal. Okay. How many people are playing this thing? Oh man. But nonetheless, Hollow Knight Silksong looks fantastic. I've only played a little bit of the first one, but
I didn't want to include it. He only plays so little. I didn't want to include it.
Yeah, like, this might be to some a fraudulent pick of the week, but I got to give it some love, right? Just for what it's doing.
Come on.
And I had a lot of people write in when I covered what it was doing in the industry. And a lot of people were like, you should still check it out as sort of like you don't have to play the first one. I'm like, no, like it's special. Like, I feel like Elden Ring's cool, right? But it's really cool if you know what Dark Souls is.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of same thing here. It's like Hollow Knight Silksong is cool, but it's really cool if you know what came before. And it's one of those series I'm just totally in the dark on in a lot of ways. But apparently very strong Metroidvania, really precise platforming and combat. And just awesome game doing awesome things for our industry. Yeah. So shout out to Hollow Knight Silksong.
Shout out to Team Cherry Gang.
Yes, sir. All right, Cog, it's time to wrap it up. What do we want to do for the hashtag this week? Oh, he's got the evil laugh.
I don't know if I want to do it. No, because I don't know. I was trying to think of a play on Hines, and I was thinking ketchup.
Oh no, it's the same fucking. I always make that joke about him. I was like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, we can't do that to him. We can't do it. We're gonna leave that alone. I'll leave it to you.
DD. I mean,
say that again. Which
we did catch up DD. Is that still...
catch up? Yeah, we can fake that.
Wait, catch up, or are we talking catching up?
Catching up, catching. Want to do that?
Oh, okay. I was thinking a ketchup bottle.
Oh no, I mean that's what I was going with all the way. I thought you didn't want to do that.
Hines in it, right? Because then, but it's a little tongue in cheek kind of.
Yeah, so tongue in cheek. So ketchup, right?
Yeah,
which is the play on Hines.
Yeah.
So ketchup DD. We squirted that joint all over the episode.
Yeah, there you go. Squirt your ketchup in the comments down below. Ketchup DD, or you can go to Twitter or X or whatever you call it. Mm-hmm. I'm at G27status. Cog is at Lord Cognito. Can't use the hashtag ketchup DD. Other than that, Cog, we're done. Any thoughts, any feelings, any things you want to get off your chest before we get on out of here?
No, good stuff. Obviously, light news for the most part, but we had other stuff to talk about, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And man, I was vibing on the when she was playing with the Chronos and the Sea Blue, but it's your full circle. That was kind of dope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff. I love the discussion as always. You know how we do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your Cog while he's here because my man's going to Tokyo soon. So enjoy him before you miss him for a couple of weeks. But Cog, pleasure as always. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week for episode 246 of Defining Duke and Xbox Podcast. But until then, take wonderful care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time around. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox Podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.